Goddamn.
Goddamn. Goddamn is right. Goddamn is right, man. Good God. What in the world has transpired over the past couple of hours? Golly, bro. Wow. Okay. Well, here we are. And what is going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to another edition of the Notorious podcast. This is episode 260 of the
Right.
news. And we are 4 days away from the technical anniversary on April 8th, but we are 1 week of news away from the 5-year anniversary of NHP, man. So next week is the 5-year
Crazy.
anniversary. Yeah, very, very crazy, man. Very crazy. But with all that being said, how is everybody doing? And like I said, man, welcome back to another edition of the news. And thank you guys for joining us as always, as we have a lot to discuss on this episode of the news, man. So again, man, if this is, or how are you guys doing? And if this is your first time watching and you guys do not know how the show works, every Monday we are on here live after Monday Night Raw with the news, or what? Every Monday we are on here live after Monday Night Raw with Unscripted, and live every Friday at 3 p.m. Central with the news. Also, for the pay-per-views for both WWE and AEW, we are live directly after the show. We will be live Sunday night with your AEW Dynasty review,
Mm-hmm.
as the stream is already up, and the countdown is available on our channel for you guys until Sunday. So if you guys want to type your thoughts about the show while you're watching it, put whatever you want in the chat. I don't care, man. I love hearing your guys' thoughts, and feel free, man. So with all that, if you guys did miss this past Monday's edition of Unscripted, that is episode 240. You guys can now, or that is episode 241. CM Punk finally gets his WrestleMania main event. As was it announced too early, man? We talked about all that good stuff. And if you guys do want to watch that, if you guys did miss that, that is available for you guys on all platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you want to see it first, join us right here live every Monday after Monday Night Raw for Unscripted. Also, if you guys have not got a chance to pick up some of the official NHP merchandise, you guys can now find this live on the merch shop. That is bonfire.com. Link is at the top of the description of this very video, where you can get this beautiful piece of NHP merchandise live, available on the merch shop for you guys as we speak, man. So, with all of that, if this is your first time watching and you guys do not know who we are here at NHP, I am Johnny, one half of the host of this very show. And as for the other half, we got my man, Sir K here. Sir K, tell us what you're smiling about today.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just been chilling,
Mm.
man. Just been chilling. Good weekend. Very excited for this weekend, man. Dynasty amongst many other very exciting things, man. So I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just been chilling out, man. Been chilling out. Dynasty is here, and after
Yes, it
this,
is.
man, it's just WrestleMania, man. The pay-per-view AEW Dynasty is here, and then after this, it's just WrestleMania, man. So I'm excited. And I've been doing good, man. I've been doing good. Like Toronto always ask, how's life? How's the family? Life's good. Family's good. How is everybody doing in the live chat? How's everyone doing? Watch the replay. What about you, bro? How are you doing?
I am doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just chilling. Exciting weekend ahead. Got a bunch of stuff going on this weekend. Both with the podcast, professionally, I guess, and personally, man. So it's an exciting weekend. As this is our normal WrestleMania weekend. Typically, this is our normal WrestleMania weekend. And not this year, man. Not this year. This probably would have been the week, on any given week, that that Mania fell on, but we fell on different times this year, and we got not only next week of news, but the week after that, 2 weeks of news left before we finally get to those Mania predictions, and then obviously both nights of WrestleMania. So that should be very fun, and I'm excited for that. Like I said, big weekend coming up professionally here with the podcast, personally, man. So I'm excited for all that good stuff. So I am doing good. I am doing good, as my guys are already here in chat. Hunter and, of course, Manager Logan is finally on time. How are you guys doing? And thank you guys for joining us as always. You know, we always love having you guys, man. So we got, man, like I said just a couple seconds ago, what the fuck happened, bro? What happened, dude? Well, we're gonna start you
Wow.
guys off. Yeah, bro. We're gonna start you guys off with WWE today, as we have news that is fresh, literally freshly broken as of about 9 a.m. this morning. Man. Oh, dude, nice. That's awesome, Hunter. That is awesome.
That's definitely gonna be awesome.
For sure,
Truly.
bro. For sure. Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool. Okay. So broke, like I said, at about 9 o'clock this morning. So this is fresh, man. This is very fresh, and this is pretty nuts, dude. This is pretty nuts. So according to PWN, they have reported that Kevin Owens is currently dealing with an undisclosed injury, and there is no timetable for his return to in-ring action. This has left the Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens planned WrestleMania match in jeopardy, to the point that alternative plans for Orton have been discussed. The plans being considered for Orton are unknown. Kevin Owens has not wrestled a match since his unsanctioned match with Sami Zayn at the Elimination Chamber on March 1st. Orton returned from a long month hiatus following Kevin Owens' win to set up their WrestleMania match. In the process, Owens and Orton have continued feuding in the weeks coming since Elimination Chamber, and the WrestleMania match has been made official on the March 21st edition of Friday Night SmackDown. Owens last appeared on the March 28th edition of SmackDown, costing Orton his match against Drew McIntyre. So that was as soon as, last week. That was last Friday, and they, this is to be taken seriously. It is, but unless this, to me, man, unless this Owens injury is, recent, like as of last week, I have a hard time believing that, they're going to, I have a hard time believing they're going to pivot this match, being that I feel like if this injury happened a long time ago, they would have found a way to write this off sooner. I feel like they would have found a way to write this off sooner. The fact that, again, they're still ongoing this literally as soon as last week, they were still building this storyline. So, I mean, that is a good sign of hope that Owens is fine. Like I said, unless this injury happened last week, somewhat, then, this is a good sign of hope that he will make WrestleMania, man, because, again, I have a hard time believing that, if WWE knew he was injured a month ago, since Elimination Chamber, or coming out of Elimination Chamber 2-3 weeks ago, whatever the case may be, I have a hard time believing that, they would just continue to build this match. I feel like they would have maybe ran an injury angle. Maybe Orton, hits the punt sooner than expected because Owens is injured and you got to write him off. Or I feel like they would have done something of that matter, unless we're in another case kind of with Seth Rollins last year where KO, they know he's injured, and he's just going to go ahead and work the show anyway, injured, and then take time off afterwards, and then come back whenever he's good. but like I said, work hurt just to get the match with Orton out of the way, so Orton can punt him improperly right off television, and maybe they're just creating alternative plans just in case he's not able to make it another 2 more weeks. But if he is hurt, if he is really hurt, I honestly I can see the vibe here of him working the show hurt, not doing much in the match with Orton, but just doing it to write him off of television, to take the punt and to write him off of television. Because again, if he, was hurt really bad to the point where WWE knew he couldn't make WrestleMania, I have a very hard time believing that they would just, continue to build the storyline knowing he can't make it. Um, there are some alternative options. You do have two guys that you're bringing into the company that could easily work as, something for Orton to do as maybe like an open challenge, or, shoehorning some sort of last minute story with obviously Aleister Black and Miro, which we're going to get to him in a minute. You have Miro. There's also been, Jeff Cobb coming in. You could call somebody up from NXT. There's obviously not a shortage of backup plans, excuse me, if you need to do something for Randy Orton. So that's not necessarily a problem, but it is definitely interesting with Kevin Owens because of the severity of the injury. It really all depends. If it's nagging him, if it's just a nagging injury and he's going to go ahead and work through Mania, or if this is something, that is severe and is really causing serious jeopardy to the Mania match. But what do you think about this, man? What kind of vibes are you getting just through speculation of this whole thing, and how are you feeling? And also, my second question to you would be, what would you do with Orton?
Yeah, it's very interesting because we didn't hear about a word of any type of injury, post chamber. So it's a really out of left field with this one, man. Maybe it did happen last week. Maybe it's been a problem that they've been just planning around in general. I have no clue of how this injury may be. When was it? How long it's been? How serious it is. Um, I hope it's not too serious, and I overall think that the most likely scenario is the one you mentioned where he's had an injury and they're gonna get through this Mania match. He's gonna be written off TV for a little bit to go and heal and whatnot. So I think that's the overall most likely outcome I see in this. But maybe there's a chance he can't make it, and you have to change plans and have to go with someone else. Which you mentioned there's a lot of people they could swap plans with for Randy Orton, man. So I wouldn't be too worried about that scenario because I think there's still a lot you could do with him. And it's shocking, man. I don't know how severe this injury is. If it happened last week, if it's been an injury, um, I have no clue. I hope he can make it to Mania, and I overall think he will. But it's always scary when it's WrestleMania season, and you're injured, man. That's always the worst, man. But overall, um, well, you could do a lot with Orton if KO can't make it to the show. You could do like you mentioned, you got so many people coming in. You got Aleister Black. You got the possibility of Miro. You're gonna have a returning person. You know, you could have so many people in that scenario, man. That's if KO can't make it. Even though I feel like he will be able to, man. But we don't know, and I think we might be able to. I think we might be knowing tonight if they have a segment tonight and what that segment might look like. Our answer or not.
100%, 100%. Yeah, and yeah, man. I mean, God, what a time to happen, man. I mean, seriously,
It was the worst.
it really is, man. It always sucks when people have to miss WrestleMania. Nobody, nobody likes to sit on the bench for the Super Bowl, man. So,
Mm-mm.
it always sucks, and I always hate, man, when these guys, you know, work all year and they do really good work all year like Kevin Owens has, and you want to see these guys on Mania, and it always sucks when they get hurt, man. It really, really does. So, um, yeah. Well, speaking of one of the guys that we had just mentioned, Miro. According to PW Insider, Miro, or the formerly Rusev, has signed with WWE. Miro was at the WWE headquarters yesterday, 2 days ago, to set the stage for his return to the company. As with that, I know a lot of people have asked, what about Lana? Because, it is reported that they are back together. So a lot of people, well, it was reported that they never got divorced. They were just going to, but they never did. They just, whatever the case is, I wish them the best, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy
Mm-hmm.
for him. But a lot of people have speculated since they've been back together. What about Lana? Well, for the first appearance of the week, Dave Meltzer has
Oh,
reported
God.
on the Wrestling Observer Radio. Miro signed. Yeah. CJ did not sign. And she was
Okay.
not there. Basically, when I was asking, I was given the impression that she would not be back. You never know for sure. She could be back. But she did not sign, and he did. Meltzer said. So
The classic wrestling journalist, man. She's not back, but
she
she
could be.
could be back. You never know. You could be. You know, just in case that she does, and they could throw. Well, I said it was a
Yeah,
possibility.
yep, 100%, 1,000%. That is the day Meltzer's
Uh,
waiting for. When she signs, you know he's going to be on that Observer saying, "Well, I said when Miro signed, it was a possibility she could say." You know that's why he says that, bro. But well, according to Mr. Meltzer, CJ Lana is not back yet, but she could be.
could be.
She could
She
be
could
very
be, man.
soon. It is a possibility, likely possibility, per Mr. Meltzer. So, according to Uncle Dave, she is not back yet. However, Miro has signed. All right. Well, Miro has signed. First, I got a couple questions for you. First, do you call him Miro or do you call him Rusev? The second question: what would you do with him creatively? And I guess the third would are you excited to see him back? Are you excited to just see him back in the fold of WWE? And did you expect him to go right back to WWE?
Overall, I thought he was. I knew he was gonna go back in general. I didn't think it would be this soon. I thought he would been one of the guys to kind of try another place or two before returning to WWE. But going right to WWE, I like it. I'm very excited. And as for his identity, what to call him and whatnot, I'm actually throwing my hat in the mirror, my name. Oh God, I fucked this whole thing up. My
Sorry,
name
man.
in the Miro hat.
Okay.
Um, listen, Rusev, great name, classic name. Wouldn't be mad about it at all. But the Rusev has a sort of baggage to it with Rusev Day and all this and all that history. And I think it's bad. And I know people, loved, Rusev Day. So did we. So did we. But I
Loved it.
think I don't want Rusev Day back. I don't want that whole thing back. And I hope that they move on from that. And I would call him Miro coming in. I think that's a more legit name in a way because, that is his name. So it's just more of it's more of a name I think I could resonate with, if that makes sense. And for what he can do and whatnot, you know, I, I, I think some version of the Redeemer, or just another version of himself, dude. Because but when the start of his AEW run, when he was Miro and the Redeemer, and Mr. Anti Brass Rings and
Hmm.
all that, he was really dope, dude. He was really dope. He really gave a good vibe and a care and a person I could get behind, and I hope that's what they try to capture with this, man. I really hope, and I really think it's pretty likely that they're gonna go in my opinion, the cheap route. Call him Rusev, do the whole Rusev Day is back, this, that, all Rusev Day merch. Oh my God, and I think it's cheap, and I hope they don't go with that, man, because that was a really good point, in his career that ended up getting ruined, and I think if you try to do that same exact thing again, you're looking for a cheap pop, in my opinion, man. So I would call him Miro. I would do some sort of redeemer or just more, you know, human, Miro driven character, and I would do something like that. I think doing Rusev Day again can be really cheap. And I hope they don't make, and I hope they don't do that, man. But what do you think? How do you think he should come in the company? What name do you think he should use? And how would you use Miro?
So I would I am going to I am going to throw my name in the hat of Rusev. I think I like Miro, and I would not be mad about that at all. I think Rusev, for me, I think the audience knows him as that, and I think he was big enough. He wasn't huge, but I think he was big enough and popular enough when he was there to carry on that name. However, you talked a little bit about Rusev Day.
Hmm.
I loved OG Rusev Day, but
Oh,
but
I
in
loved it.
it was great. But in saying that, WWE under no circumstances can run Rusev Day back. And there's two
No.
reasons. Because one, it is ridiculously hard to catch lightning in a bottle twice. And if you don't believe me, just look at DIY. Second off, second off, you cannot run that act back without Aiden English because hot take, Aiden English was
He
the
was,
star of that act.
yeah, he was the one that made it Rusev Day. He would sing it. He would
Yes.
feel like yeah, I
Rus
agree with you on that.
Rusev did a lot of the, he did the in-ring work and he was the brute and everybody everybody loved Rusev, but if you look at the guy that made that act special, it was Aiden English. That's just again,
Hmm.
that's just my hot take. But under no circumstances can you run back Rusev Day. Again, you cannot catch lightning in a bottle twice. You can't, and like you said, it's such a cheap way out of, you know, capitalizing on his popularity. However, however, if you want to, maybe go a route where he comes back and he's stringing the people along and he's getting them to chant Rusev Day and then he kills it. I think that could be a way to
I
go.
like that.
I think that could be a
I
way to
like
go
that.
because imagine his first promo back. He's talking about Rusev Day, and the crowd is chanting or whatever. Maybe you could get him in the ring with a baby face or whatever. You could have him wear a fucking Rusev Day shirt because if you want to go ahead
Yeah.
and get your sales, all right, I get it. Have him wear his Rusev Day shirt. Have him come back day one, happy as shit, doing his old shtick, and whether you wait a week or whether it's in that very same promo, have him fucking, turn heel, rip the shirt up, and say fucking Rusev Day's dead. I'm the Redeemer,
Hmm.
or have him do. It needs to be something of the Redeemer or God's plan version of Miro because he
God's plan.
he
You gotta come out the God's plan.
it was so good, and I honestly think the look that he has of the bald with the big beard, that's just such a
Hmm.
menacing look for him. And you would, and honestly, dude, let's be honest, AEW did not capitalize on the Redeemer. And I think WWE can easily pull a Lucha Brothers and they can capitalize on shit that AEW did not capitalize on. AEW ran the Redeemer in God mode for about 6 months while he had the TNT championship, and it was fucking fantastic. And after that, they completely just let it go to shit. And we've seen a glimpse on how it could be good, and it was good in AEW. Imagine what
Yeah.
WWE could do with that fucking gimmick. You know,
Come on, man.
so
You could do so much.
uh, it's ridiculous how much you can do with that gimmick. But honestly, man, you know, you have a guy who, you know, I didn't expect to be back this soon. I really didn't. I thought either he was going to take a break or he was just going to go maybe Impact, maybe New Japan. I thought he would have been great over there. But he's going back to WWE, man, and I mean I respect the decision. You know, he's going back, and like I said, you have an opportunity here to really capitalize on a massively failed run, man. A massively failed run. I mean, Vince failed this man on just about in just about every aspect of what he was doing, bro. I mean, he failed in popularity. He failed in, you know, in his booking. Every avenue, he failed the guy. Okay, and he is a great talent. Still one of my favorite TNT champions of all time. I got him displayed in my display case from that OG Redeemer run
Mhm.
where he was carrying around the white and green TNT championship. It was awesome. It was fucking awesome. And then AEW ended up failing him as well towards the later half of his run. But I'm excited to see him come back, and I'm excited to see Triple H at least hopefully right the wrongs of what he's of what was done to him, not only in AEW but in his OG WWE run. But honestly, man, you know, I wouldn't be against him coming in as the name Miro, or I wouldn't be against him coming in with the name Miro by any means. I just think, you know, he was so popular under the name Rusev. I think you do bring him back. I think it's a recognizable name. But again, like I said, if he wants to come out there as Rusev and, you know, with his Rusev Day shirt and then rip the fucking thing up and tell everybody he's Miro and Rusev is dead, I also
That'd be
think that's
cool.
a fucking great angle to run too. You know, Rusev is a character. You know what I mean? I'm fucking done with that. I'm Miro. You know what I mean? So I think
Exactly.
either way, you have an option where you have an avenue you could go down where he can be Rusev but not represent anything that Rusev was, or he can be Miro and completely kill Rusev. So either way, I think it works. I think it works,
I think
man.
so.
And as for
Mhm.
creative, uh I know SmackDown's getting all the free agents and whatnot. I know they're getting all the free agents and whatnot, man. So I honestly would probably bring him in on Monday Night Raw, assuming that everything is how it is now. You know, not speaking on how a draft might look, but I
Mhm.
think I think I would probably put him on Raw. You're putting a lot of free agents on SmackDown. You have Jacob Fatu on SmackDown, so it would kind of be tough to put a lot of, you know, big guys on that show. So
Mhm.
I would probably say right now Monday Night Raw, but yeah, it's getting a little crowded though, so
Overall,
I hope WWE can start pumping the brakes a little on free agents, because again, you're looking at Jeff Cobb, you got Bronson Reed coming back, you got Breaker, you got Fatu, you got Braun Strowman on the show. You know, guys like Obafemi, I'm sure are gonna be called up soon. Um, so you got a lot of, you know, it's starting to wear a little thin. So, you know, WWE, I hope can manage all these guys and on all these guys that have, you know, all these, you know, big men. So
mhm.
hopefully all that works itself out. But yeah, man, that is the news on Miro coming back to WWE. I am very excited for that. And I'm excited to see what he does. I'm excited to see the sort of teasing and how they bring him in and whatnot. So it's gonna be interesting.
Very. Gonna be very interesting.
Speaking of SmackDown, speaking of SmackDown, we got another new guy that is coming in actually tonight, as doors for the show are in probably about an hour and 20 minutes. So to our fellow Chicagoans, hope you guys have a blast. Hope you guys have a blast. I'm sure it's going to be
You
a
guys
great
enjoy the
show.
show?
According to... Actually, that's the second part of it. Let me go to the first part. Here we go. Okay. According to WrestleVotes, on the Backstage Pass, there was a backstage segment on the March 21st edition of SmackDown with Nick Aldis telling Andrade that there are new talent coming to the brand and he would want him to work with them. But the segment got cut, seemingly indicating that WWE potentially had plans for Andrade and Rey Fenix. So, with that, Uncle Dave decided to double down on this, and he did say Andrade is still set to be feuding with Rey Fenix. I don't know if they'll do it on Friday, but that is slated for Phoenix's first feud coming into the company. Well, thank you, Dave, for not talking yourself into circles there, for once. Man. Well, I'll tell you, this segment that got cut, you know, Nick Aldis telling Andrade he wants him to work with the new talent. What is that? I mean, are you why don't why the fuck don't you just tell the guy? Yeah, why don't you just tell the guy you want him to be gatekeeper Andrade? I mean, you might as fucking well have just told him that.
The fuck you got Andrade gatekeeping? And wasn't there a segment? I don't know if it actually made it onto the most of the audience for SmackDown last week, but there was a segment last week where more tensions arise between Andrade, and how do I forget his name? That's how little he is on television.
Humberto or Santos, Humberto.
Santos, yeah. They were like in an argument about how Santos was treating his group. There was a whole segment last week for that. So, is he just gonna completely drop that and then feud with Rey Fenix? Is Rey Fenix gonna be involved in the whole circle? What are you doing here?
So, the only good that can come out of a feud with Rey Fenix and Andrade, because I'll tell you right now, Andrade being gatekeeper, I mean, that role sucks. Okay, that role sucks for anybody. I know somebody's got to do it, but see, Andrade has failed to get over, and I do not really fault Andrade for any of this at all, because he could have came back and did, the same look and the same everything. But no, he switched things up on his end that needed to be switched up, just because, I mean, they didn't necessarily need to be switched up, but, I get it. Something fresh, right? He comes back, he's wearing the mask, and, he's in he wears, the long pants now, as opposed to just, those minor changes from when we've seen him before. But WWE has failed to capitalize on the most blatantly obvious thing that Andrade needs to be successful, because, sure, Andrade struggles with, character. And a lot of people bring that up. Well, he has no character. Congratulations. He didn't have any character in NXT either. But what did he have in NXT that made him stand out, that WWE, for some godforsaken reason, refuses to do? That is put him with Zelina Vega.
The formula is that simple.
Dude, you even put her on the same brand as him.
And you had an angle where he was looking for a manager.
Eh, dude, uh, I don't understand this at all. And so now you have him in this sort of gatekeeper role. And I'm saying right now, the only good that can come out of this is Andrade feuding with Rey Fenix. Obviously, Rey Fenix is not going to be the heel. So you have Andrade turn heel. And you have him, you know, obviously, he's going to have to lose the feud because this is against Rey Fenix. But once we get past that, you can have this heel Andrade, but still directionless. And you could have him find Zelina Vega and get those two back together. I mean, because again, Andrade, again, unfortunately, the guy, he doesn't have much charisma, right? He doesn't really have a
No,
personality. His English is, a little broken. But again, that is why you put the guy with Zelina Vega. It's that simple. You have the blueprint to the formula for success. Yet,
you're just not doing it.
yes, yet you just ignore it. You just ignore it as if it's not, as if it wasn't even there in the first place. I don't get it. I mean, it is it is good for Rey Fenix, for starting out. He's going to be starting out against somebody like Andrade. I'm sure those two are going to work well together. Andrade can work well with anybody, but it does
Mhm.
suck, because a lot of people, I think, had high hopes for him when he did come back to the company. And, you know, excuse me, he's now just kind of in this gatekeeper role, and that does suck, man, because he's worth more than that. And although this is going to be good stuff starting out for Rey Fenix, it doesn't, it doesn't help the fact that it still does suck for Andrade, man. But I mean, like I said, he can turn heel out of this and eventually get back with Zelina Vega. But again, I don't fucking know what WWE's waiting for sometimes, dude.
No, I really don't know. They Triple H likes to wait and wait and wait and wait, and sometimes waiting so long, can kill an act, man. And I really don't want that to happen to anybody, especially an act like Andrade. So I really think he needs to speed up the love for Andrade, man. And Rey Fenix as his first opponent for Andrade, or reverse. It can be good. It's just, yeah, please repair Andrade afterwards because he desperately needs to.
Yeah, and I mean, and a lot of people say, well, Triple H waits till the right moment, till things open up. You mean to fucking tell me that SmackDown scene couldn't use a fresh act like Andrade and Vega right now? I mean, come on. Heel LA Knight would match up against those two so well, to the point where, like, because Andrade's already faced LA Knight and LA beat him. Right? LA beat him. So Andrade would need a bit of a freshening up, I feel, to maybe re-challenge for that. And
Mhm.
Zelina Vega, dude, the way Vega would help Andrade cheat. You know what I mean? With her, she has a very cool moveset. She has a very cool moveset. I remember in NXT when she would come off the fucking apron with that Hurricane Rana. You don't really see stuff like that out of a heel female manager. And that
No.
kind of stuff, it made their act so fresh. And I think that kind of stuff against a guy like LA Knight as US champion, it would have been perfect. But obviously, we're to the point now where I feel like LA's, if he goes up against Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania, you can count that reign as done. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just a huge wasted opportunity, man. And again, a lot of times with this company, I fail to realize what the hell they're waiting for.
Sometimes you're waiting for a moment that you pass so many other moments on your way there. Just go with those moments.
Yeah,
I don't get it. That happens a lot under Triple H.
yeah. So I really don't understand. I really do not understand, man. But speaking of all of that, we do have some, actually, going hand in hand with Andrade and Rey Fenix. I'm sure they would be very happy about this next news, because I've been happy about this for a while, but we still have yet to get it. According to WrestleVotes, on the Backstage Pass, WWE is seriously considering bringing a premium live event to Mexico, with 2026 emerging as the most likely target. They say Mexico has been discussed heavily. I don't know if it's official, WrestleVotes said. The London thing is always there. They're always wanting shows. They always put themselves out there to get big shows. Look, WWE is going to go where the money. WWE is going to go where they can make the most money internationally. Internationally has been selling out just as much as domestic. WWE, dude, I feel like we've been talking about this Mexico show for like 2 years, man. I feel like
Just do it.
because they said the same thing about they said the same
What was
thing
it?
about London. They just said the same thing about London. You know, there's
Oh,
going to
it's
be
coming.
another pay-per-view here in the next year or two, which scares me for WrestleMania, unless that pay-per-view they're talking about is WrestleMania, but I hope it is, because I hope we get the London Mania sooner rather than later. But I've also heard that WWE has, made it clear that, London has to win the bid. They're not just going to go to London because it's London, which I'm sorry, but I kind of am in the belief you should go to London just because it's London, because it's fucking
Mm.
London and there's never been an international WrestleMania. Why are you fucking going to New Orleans, a market that is a repeat market, and you're passing up London? I mean, again, I get you're going to go where the money is, but I'm sure you're going to get a fucking boatload of money either way.
And if you're talking about money, look at the amount of ticket sales. I get it. They're gonna say this Mania is the most profitable WrestleMania ever because your fucking nosebleed is fucking $2,000. But a fucking nosebleed is $2,000. They're not selling nearly as much as they used to for the WrestleMania tickets. You lower it down, you go to London. That's all the money in the world, dude. You're getting money anyway, a shit ton of it. So just go where the market's more fresh, dude. I don't understand that mentality.
Dude, did you see that? Did you see that image floating around on social media of the old prices for like old WrestleManias?
Yeah, it was like Mania 22 or something, and like the
Yes.
fucking ringside was like $400. Dog, shit, I'll be ringside at Mania every year. What the fuck?
That
What, man?
man,
TKO gotta be stopped, bro. Come on.
they absolutely do. They absolutely do. There that the image oh, here it is. Okay. So the seating prices for WrestleMania, what is this? 16. I think this was 2003. Yeah, I think this was 2003. The lowest ticket price on here is $15. Yes, 1 5. $15.
Not the lowest seat price. You gotta add two zeros out of that shit. 1,500.
Yes.
God damn.
Now the lowest prices for nosebleed tickets is about $900 at WrestleMania. The most expensive ticket on here,
Mm-hmm.
ringside, legit fucking ringside, is $400. We paid about a little over 400 to sit incline at Survivor Series, which our seats were
Yep.
great, but
They're great seats.
dude,
Oh,
what? So the bracket here, the bracket for ticket prices, it goes 400, 100, 75, 60, 45, 25, and 15. That is your bracket for WrestleMania, which where we would sit, usually I like incline. I like the 100 level of incline. I fucking hate being on the
same.
floor. Um
I can't do it.
if we were looking to go to WrestleMania, bro, just judging off seats that, as history says, we would probably choose, between me and you, we would be paying $120 to go to WrestleMania. We would be paying $60 each to go to WrestleMania.
Good Lord, man. I wish that that shit was still on because TKO has got this shit at an immeasurable price, dude, that I think eventually is gonna, in a way, crash, and they're after gonna
Yeah.
readjust the prices to normal. Maybe not after this mania. I think you have they
Mm,
have two manias left where this can last, and my prediction is that shit crashes after that, and they're fucked, and they have to fucking, lower the prices to at least normal WrestleMania fucking price. So either way, man, it's so fucking stupid. Everything's so goddamn expensive with this company, man. They're selling
yeah.
fucking $50 fucking Travis Scott hoodies. TKO, they are some monsters, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. Man, it is ridiculous, bro. Yes, they are some money.
Money
Money.
monsters.
Yes, money. Yeah, yeah. Well, go ahead and go with that, man. Because yes, I mean, dude, I mean, they are so ridiculously greedy, man. Again, I understand that prices may have gone up, but dude,
Yeah,
but again, $900 for a nosebleed ticket is absolutely ridiculous, dude. That is absolutely ridiculous, and it is I mean, we say it all the time, but it's gonna come around to bite them in the ass sooner or later, bro. Because again,
mhm,
people are again look at this year's WrestleMania, bro. It is the lowest attended WrestleMania since WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania 2002. They said the low, and
yeah,
this is a boom period for the company. Could
yeah,
you imagine this? This is a boom period for the company, bro. Could you imagine if those ticket prices were affordable?
yeah.
There
They
wouldn't be a spot to move in that arena if those ticket prices
no,
were affordable because everybody would be at the show.
exactly. Everybody would have found a way to make the show. It's Vegas too. People love going to Vegas. That's the
Yep,
ultimate vacation spot. And
100%.
people literally aren't going to WrestleMania Vegas because it's too expensive. It's way too expensive.
I mean, WWE fails to realize that, you know, if they fail to realize everything else people have to spend money on while they're there. You know what I mean? Like, you pay for WrestleMania, sure. But look at everything else. Some people buy rental cars, some people buy plane tickets there and back. That's certainly not cheap. You got to pay for a hotel. You got to pay for, if you want to go to WWE World. And you're not just paying for WrestleMania because the WrestleMania experience, people go to the SmackDown, people go to the Raw, people go to the Hall of Fame, which apparently is not hardly selling tickets this year. People go to Stand and Deliver. People go to the local indie shows around WrestleMania. People go to, did I already say WWE World? Well, they probably go for a couple nights of WWE World. They go to fucking Fanatics. They go to the Undertaker Dead Man show. They go to they
Comedy show they're doing.
yeah, they go to that. No, did I fucking mention that you have to eat? You you got to
Yeah,
fucking pay for
you're
food. I mean, like
you're
what?
in Vegas. You're on the Vegas Strip. A lot of people love going to Vegas. They want to go gamble in Vegas. They want to go enjoy the Vegas life
Yep,
for a weekend.
walk the
Saying that
strip.
that
Yep.
is expensive. Vegas is expensive without the WrestleMania factor. You factor in WrestleMania, that is a shit ton of fucking money.
Yeah, I mean, again, you want to, you maybe you drink, you want to go have a couple drinks with your guys. Again, you have to fucking eat. Like I said, that's multiple nights of fucking food. That's not cheap. I mean, there's so much on top of your Mania tickets being $900 just so you can go watch fucking ants 900 feet away from you. I mean,
Literally.
what?
Like the fuck? I might as well stop by one of the opera houses so I can grab some fucking binoculars so I can watch the fucking pay-per-view, man, because goddamn.
Man, I mean that is just that is crazy, man. That is crazy ass work. But man, I wish we were back at those 2003 prices. I'd be going to fucking WrestleMania every fucking year. You know how affordable that those prices were? Man,
Fuck yeah, man. This should be the yearly vacation, man. Come on.
I'm sorry, man. No, front row tickets at WrestleMania should be no more expensive than $2,000 for front row.
Yep,
That should be the
exactly.
most expensive that it gets.
The fact that them bitches are like $14,000, $30,000
30
is a
grand.
scam, dude. Get out of here.
Especially Especially when you get those manias where WWE wants to set you up on some bullshit. I mean, I mean,
Oh,
imagine you go to WrestleMania 39 and you're a fucking Cody Rhodes mark, and they pull that bullshit, and you paid 30 grand to watch your fucking boy lose. Yeah, come back next year, pay 30 grand, so we get a total of, what is that? 120 grand. Fucking 30 grand for each night. Come back for both nights of Mania next year to watch Cody Rhodes win the belt. I mean, man. I mean, it is
oh,
fucked, bro.
oh, you bought WrestleMania tickets back, earlier this year when Drew McIntyre was having the run of his life. Well, too bad you bought tickets to the wrong Mania. You gotta wait till next Mania for your fandom to pay off, man. It's like, dude, what the fuck, man?
Man, crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, dude. Crazy stuff. But yeah, I mean, it is man, it was simpler times that back then. It definitely was. But
It really was.
going back to the PLE in Mexico thing, um so again, like I just said with Andrade, sometimes I just don't know what they're waiting for. I fail to realize what they are waiting for sometimes.
I don't know. Even with names not like Carmelo Hayes, like dude, what are you waiting for? What? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. People are only getting older at the end of the day, man. Just use them, please.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, man. So we have, actually, speaking of another PLE that we just talked about, WrestleMania. The $30,000, well, if you want to go to both nights, the $60,000 extravaganza. We do have a little bit of word per WrestleVotes on what will be on what night. So, how the WWE WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 cards are currently placed, according to sources, Night 1 is slated to have CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, which whoop-de-fucking-do. I mean, obviously. I totally thought that was main eventing Night 2. Gunther versus Jey Uso. Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. And Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. Do any of these come as a shock to you?
Mm, I would say, maybe the Gunther, and Shea match, but at this point, I'm not shocked it's night one. The women's match, I'm not shocked at all. I definitely saw the women's triple threat as like the higher up in importance to
Yeah.
WWE Women's title match. The, I would have thought if anything, Gunther and Jay might have opened night two.
Yeah,
But
okay.
now at this point, that makes me believe the women's triple threat is opening night two. So most of it, to be honest, doesn't shock me for the most part, man. I overall saw some variation of all of that. But what about you?
The one that did shock me from here is Gunther and Jay. 100%.
Hmm.
I thought for sure, with that not being in the main event of obviously night one, which overall I didn't really expect it to be anyway. I thought for sure they were going to give them the main event of night two, which in saying that, man, it it really raises the question, are they going to have them open night one and get that out of the way first fucking thing? Um, personally,
Uh,
okay, you've been hyping this Jey Uso moment up so big, the moment of him winning the World Heavyweight Championship and yeeting with, 40,000 people. It should be 70, but 40,000 people. Um,
Gonna be daylight out,
I
bro. You
I was gonna say I thought that would have been a night 2 opener, not a
I would
night
have thought.
not a night 1 opener, but I mean, I guess it makes a little sense if you're having Punk, Roman and Rollins main event night 1, and if you're having Cody and Cena main event night 1. The only two other matches that I guess could be solid openers is Gunther and Jay and Bianca, Rhea, and Io. So, like you said, I am now convinced Bianca, Rhea, and Io is probably going to be your night 2 opener, with Gunther and Jay
Yeah,
being your night 1 opener. So, um,
most definitely, man.
un-
Which is crazy. But
unless they want to do Gunther and Jay, unless they want to do Gunther and Jay down the stretch, maybe your second to
the
or
last one,
your
third to
third to
last
last
match,
match. I
I
could,
could see that.
yeah, because I feel like just a thing with Jay's entrance, I feel like they're gonna want to cut the lights out and have everybody, have everybody with those light wristbands like they did in
Fans.
France, and have everybody
Hmm.
yeeting about. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I would either say open it, or more than likely, I think the best way if it's not opening night two, the best way you could do it is third to last match on night one, man. Have that match, a little bit, not a sleeper obviously, but a little bit more team match, and then the main event, man. I think that might be your best way to do it at this point.
100%. So for night 2, what we have confirmed is John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, Bianca Belair versus Rhea versus Io, and AJ Styles versus Logan Paul on night 2. So
Right?
should be
They need to.
interesting on how the rest of this shapes up. But what were you gonna say?
You mentioned how the rest of it shaped up. Where's the rest of the fucking WrestleMania matches so far? We're fucking 3 weeks away,
Yeah.
and we still have like 4 undercard matches to make.
Yep.
Like, god damn. But either way, I saw most of those in that alignment, man. But I really hope they don't like just brush away Jay and Gunther, because that's kind of what you fucking cashed in your fucking Royal Rumble this year
Hmm.
on. So I hope it would fucking pay off.
So the thing is here, man, is regarding this match card is, like you just said, where are the rest of the fucking matches? We have about 3 matches left to announce on night 1, and we have another 4 to announce for night 2. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it all shapes up. But again, we're 2 weeks out from the show, so I hope WWE gets to announcing and
Yeah,
quickly. So
you better chop it up. God damn.
yeah, because I mean, we should have that SmackDown multi-man match to be announced. We still got the IC title 4-way on here somewhere. We do have whatever they're going to be doing with the US title. If they have Jacob in that, then they could do that, or they do have a US title match and the Jacob and Solo match, depending on what the hell they finally do. But
Guess we still don't fucking know.
yeah.
Oh man.
So that is currently how the WrestleMania landscape is shaping up. Hunter, honestly, dude,
I don't know.
at this point, I think they're saving it for a summer feud. Uh also I could have said, if you would have asked me 2 months ago, I would have told you they're probably saving like Becky and Lyra for WrestleMania as well, but and I would have said the same thing with Jacob and Solo. Now I'm in the boat of, these guys are more than likely, probably both of those feuds are
Summer
probably just
feud.
going to be saved for the summer. So,
All right, good old Triple. You want it? All right, you're
gotta
gonna
wait.
wait,
Yep.
and we're waiting. Go,
I don't,
classic Triple H. Man.
man,
Getting tiring,
I,
man.
I don't mind me a long term, man, but not everything has
Every
to be a a long term, man. I mean, please.
Exactly. It gets a little tiring where I want something. It's like a TV show where every episode it's like one of those filler episodes where the main important thing happens at the end of the episode that you're waiting for next week, and that's the only thing that ever happens. Like I want some substance, man. Still, you
Yeah.
don't want to just wait 24/7.
1,000%. Yeah. And it's not, you know, um, a lot of fans will say, you're impatient or whatever the case is, dude. It's not wrong of us to want, these payoffs to these storylines that we invest in. So,
That
you
we
know,
invest in. And like I said, when it's just one or two things or a couple main things, all right, yeah, you make sense to wait. But when literally every program he puts on is a massive wait, it gets frustrating.
definitely, especially, in the case of Jacob and Solo, because my thinking with that is like, how do you leave Solo off of WrestleMania? Like after everything he did, again, I know he's not, you know, Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay in the ring or anything. I know a lot of people don't like his matches, but you can't deny how far he's came character wise in terms of
Yeah,
just everything he did with his character when he was the tribal chief. Like, did it start off rocky and was it bad? Yeah, they threw him in the deep end though, bro. He had to fill Roman Reigns' spot. Not everybody's gonna
exactly.
do great with that. And well, was it bad at first? And did we all laugh at him and think he was a complete goofball at first? Yes, but again, he
But
he took it. He took it, bro, and he swam up. He swam up and he got better as time went on, and he did
into
good.
his own.
So
Exactly.
so
He
to
really. Mhm.
so for me, man, to wait on the Jacob feud and snub him from Mania, I think is a bad call, man.
I think it is. I think it is a bad call. I think there's a lot of these undercard matches that like the Becky and Lyra match, the Solo and Jacob match that you're just snubbing from the show for no reason, just to wait longer. So it's gonna be what, another undercard match for SummerSlam. Might as well have it be an undercard match for WrestleMania at that point. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Yeah. And again too, you mentioned Lyra, her championship is 4 months old,
I think
3 months old, and it's nothing. Don't you think putting that on Mania would have been decent? And like they have this story with Bailey. It would have been, and it's fine if you wanted to wait for Becky, but again, you have an opportunity with Bailey to create a story where maybe Lyra takes on a new mentor in Bailey, and
yeah,
she becomes very cool with Bailey, and that's the crux for Becky Lynch to turn heel because she was
yes.
Lyra's mentor, and she comes back, and not only did you find another mentor, you find somebody else that's a four horsewoman. What the fuck is
Exactly.
that?
And speaking of Bailey, there was the Roxanne match that a lot of people wanted to be an undercard match. You completely just dropped that angle completely, and you
Yep.
put Roxanne back on NXT television for the women's mid card title down there.
Yeah. What
What what are you doing, dude? Like, why are you calling these people up and not? It's not that hard to figure out what to do with them. It's really not.
I just created again off I just created off the dome
And
a story you can tie in with Becky and Bailey and Lyra.
And with that, but in that story with those three, that could tie into Roxanne. Becky got mad at Lyra because she went with Bailey, kind of abandoning her and her mentorship. You could play the reverse. Roxanne could be like, "Damn, Bailey, you're just gonna go, mentor her, you leaving me in the dust." Boom, two feuds burst off of one main story. It's that simple.
It it really is, man. It really is.
Mhm.
But
Not
nah, I mean it.
difficult.
Yeah, I mean there's so much you could do, man. But there's just so little they try. There's so little they try
Mhm.
with that women's IC title, man. It's just like what? Why is it even? Why did you create it at that point? It doesn't make sense, dude.
It really does. Literally, I feel like they're gonna do evolution, and I feel like they might make it a yearly to bi-yearly thing. Once every 2 years or once every year, they're gonna throw all the women's matches there and call it a day. That's gonna be their cop out.
I could very well see that. I could very, very well see that, man. So, speaking of evolution, where? God damn it, I lost it.
So Triple H, don't worry. He's also finding everything.
Okay.
You're on point.
Here we go.
Okay.
As first reported by PWN, the second Evolution will take place on Saturday, July 5th. The date has been locked in and is official. An announcement from WWE regarding the event is expected this Monday, April 7th, per WrestleVotes on the Backstage Pass. Would you like to see them do this as a yearly thing, bi-yearly? What would you like to see from... I know I already asked you, what you would like to see on the show a couple weeks ago, so there's no need to go over that. But would you do this as a yearly thing, man? Do you think their roster is strong enough for this, or do you think this should be a bi-yearly thing?
I think it is strong enough if you really wanted to do it yearly. My problem with that is what I just said with, what they're all doing with this whole, mid-card circle and all that, is if it is yearly, they're just going to use it to not do, much women's, mid-card or even just undercard women's stories and cop out, save it for Evolution because it's the all women's show. It's the biggest show for the women. You got to build it to that and just cop it out and throw it all on that card. So I think if, they weren't gonna do that, I would be perfectly fine with it being a yearly thing. But they won't do it like that, and they're gonna do, the cop out method of just saving matches and just being lazy and just throwing it all on this show and calling it a day for the women. So I think they could with the roster they have because they do have a very, sizable, good women's roster, man. Especially if you factor NXT in there, it can make it really interesting. Which I hope they do for Evolution. I hope they really do include the NXT women because that's one of the strongest parts about NXT is they a lot of people say they have like the best booked women's division in the business, pretty at a pretty constant state. So I hope they include NXT in it, but overall, I think the best way to do it will be, once every like 2 years. I think that'll just be also the most refreshing way to do it. Because maybe, we'll be talking about it, but they don't seem to be doing a certain tournament this year, which we'll get into later. But maybe, the year you don't do that, you do Evolution. And then next year you do the tournament. Next year you do Evolution. You could really switch it up and keep things fresh. So I think the best answer would be, once every, 2 years. But I think that if they booked it right, they can do it every year. But I don't think they would, so I would do once every 2 years, man. But what about you?
I would, yeah, I mean, if you did want to do it yearly, like you said, I think that their division is strong enough. It's just, I would hate to see them use that as a cop out to not make
Mm-hmm.
anything important happen for the women during WrestleMania season outside of the two championship matches. And then, like you said, as far regarding the NXT women, there's no way you do that show without the NXT women. And I think I'm pretty sure the first one even had NXT UK women on it. So,
I think it did.
yeah, so I'm almost positive, they're going to do the NXT women again. There's no way you do that show and you do not have Stephanie Vacker and Julia and Jordan
There's no
Grace
way.
and Roxanne Perez. Well, she should be called up by then, but there's no way you do that show without the big three, like, right, of you know
Mm-hmm.
Vacker, Jordan Grace, and I could see that being a place maybe where Vacker finally drops the championship to Jordan Grace and Vacker can get called up because Triple H is foaming at the fucking mouth to use her on the main roster. And again,
Mm-hmm.
too, there's also a lot of other women that I would love to see get a little bit of showcase. The first one that comes to mind, or the first two that come to mind, are Sol Ruka and Zarya. Them
Mhm.
challenging for maybe the women's tag team championships and winning them on that show, I think would be great. You also have like Jada Parker over there, and there's like a lot of um there's a lot of great women over there. Again, it's not regarded as the best women's division in the world for no reason. Right? So
Exactly.
there's no way that show takes place without that. So you got to include them, and then obviously, you're obviously going to have your heavy hitters on the show. You're going to have your EOs and your Oscars and uh, you know, um, Bianca. And Bailey, Becky, Charlotte, Tiffany, you're obviously going to have all them too, but hopefully you're going to fucking have your mid card champions on there. But
Ugh,
but yeah,
I wouldn't
so
be shocked at this point.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't either, but yeah, man, I mean, it is, it is going to be very interesting to see how this all shapes up, but I would, like I said, is it strong enough? Sure. But would it be a smart idea to would it be a smart idea to maybe do that bi-yearly? Probably, just to build anticipation and hype and just build things up and just make it a big show, man. But speaking of big shows, Russell Votes also talked a little bit about the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view that we're going to be getting in the summer. Normally, we get them 2 years ago. We got Night of Champions. Last year, we got King and Queen of the Ring. This normally happens in May, but as we all know, WWE is running a Saturday night's main event in May. They're running a Saturday night's main event in May, the weekend of Double or Nothing, coincidentally enough. And Russell Votes talked a little bit about, like I said, the summer Saudi show, as they're reporting WWE Night of Champions will take place on Saturday, June 28th in Saudi Arabia. Night of Champions will be the only PLE in Saudi Arabia this year. Currently, King and Queen of the Ring is not scheduled for this year, and they have no plans for it. So I did my homework, and I
Yep.
said to myself, because a lot of people say, well, the King of the Ring happens every 4 years. Not necessarily true, because if you look at history, we have a very rocky history of King of the Ring. There was a King of the Ring tournament in 85, 86, 87, 88, 89. There wasn't one in 90. There was one in 91, not 92, but 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 2000, 01, 02, 06, 08, 2010, 15, 19, 21, and 24. Why are you keeping up with the inconsistency of the King of the Ring tournament? So, would it benefit WWE to do bi-yearly? That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just wish they would make it more evident. Like last year.
Say it.
Yes,
Yeah.
last year when they re-announced King of the Ring, it would have been nice if the commentators said, we're bringing back our bi-yearly. This is going to be a bi-yearly King and Queen of the Ring tournament, because as you can see, the tournament here, it's mad inconsistent. Again, how do we go from the years of, what is that, 93 all the way up until 2002, this was a yearly thing. And then all of a sudden we jump to 06, to 08, to 2010, to 2015. I really hope WWE does not get in the habit of bringing this thing back whenever they want to give somebody the accolade of, oh, oh man, Gunther would be very cool. Wouldn't it be cool if Gunther was a King of the Ring winner? Yeah, let's bring it back. And then a couple years later, you bring it back whenever you figure somebody would look cool carrying around a crown.
Braun Breaker would make a cool King of the Ring. Let's bring it back, man. Like, dude,
This,
you have to have some consistency for me to care about the thing.
yes, and the tournament gave SummerSlam a lot of, substance. It
Value.
gave,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it gave a lot of purpose for SummerSlam, and obviously SummerSlam's always going to have somewhat purpose, being that it's just a big four. But like, you had a tournament that again just set up SummerSlam so well, and to again just not bring it back, I think is just a fucking odd move, bro. Because again, like we said last year, you have Royal Rumble. You have Royal Rumble to set up Mania, King of the Ring to set up SummerSlam. It's like it goes hand in hand, and I really just don't I don't understand that at all, man. I really don't. It's just it's a weak ass move in my honest opinion. You know, don't bring shit back when you feel like it, or because don't want to have or because you don't want to do it, or whatever the case is, man. Be consistent, dude. Be consistent. And again, this is a show that for me set up SummerSlam very nicely, because again, if John Cena ends up facing CM Punk, you could have had CM Punk win King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you don't have King of the Ring be the catalyst for Cena versus Punk, then there's a World Heavyweight Championship. Determine the
Yeah,
challenger for that through King of the Ring, and set that up through King of the Ring. It just, King of the Ring is such an awesome thing, and I really just don't understand why we're bringing it back when we feel like it and when we don't. You know what I mean? And again, I wish there was more consistency with it, because it's a great thing to do, and like I said, it just sets up SummerSlam so seamlessly. And again, you know, if you wanted to bring it back a little bit later in the year, so you're, maybe closer to SummerSlam, because there was a bit of a drag from May to August,
yeah.
with Gunther. But again, if you why don't but again, oh well, actually, to prove my point, King of the Ring or Night of Champions is happening in June this year. That would, and
Yeah.
it's at the end of June. So it's basically, the build for that is going to start in July. You would only have a month build. I mean, that seems like the perfect spot to start running your King of the Ring build. And I don't know why they're going away with that, man. And honestly, to me, that's a weak ass move, man. I would have stayed consistent with King of the Ring, and I would have kept it was, it was enjoyable last year. We got that
Mm-hmm.
match between we got a Gunther and Sheamus match last year in the King of the Ring tournament. We got a Dragunov and Ricochet match that was probably the best match in the whole fucking tournament. And it just seems, it just sucks to see them do away with something that just had so much hype last year, and something that was overall really good last year.
Exactly, man. And if you don't have, the intuition to think, how are we going to do this thing next year? Or how can we, find a way to do this every year or every other year? And you just bring it back to bring it back, and then you don't know what to do, so you don't do it again. That's just lazy, and at that point, you shouldn't have brought it back in the first place if you didn't know how to book it properly in the long term. And how is Mr. Long Term gonna bring something back and not know how to use it in the long term? Um, so that's very annoying, if anything, man.
Yeah.
But I hope it makes a return. I hope that it's not too inconsistent, because if it is that inconsistent, where oh, 3 years in between this one, 2 years in between that one, a year in between, I won't care about it anymore, and it'll just be a crux to get to SummerSlam, man. So I hope we get it next year, and I hope it's a bi-yearly thing, man, because if it's not, I can't care about it, because you're not making anybody care about it.
Yeah, I really would have liked this to be a staple. Again, I really would have loved for this to be the Royal Rumble of the summer. Um,
Hmm.
with again, like it's probably sound like a broken record, but it set up SummerSlam so perfectly. It's like, your Royal Rumble is a staple, and I would have liked to see King of the Ring become a staple. You know what I mean? You can't just say every year, oh, I don't really know who's gonna win the Royal Rumble this year, so let's fucking You
Not
just
do it.
skip out on it this year. We'll just do what we want.
Yeah.
Again, I would have liked to see King of the Ring, solidify itself as the Royal Rumble of the summer. This guarantees you a shot at the champion of your choosing, which was WWE's other mistake. That was the only mistake they made with King of the Ring, in my honest opinion. You had to challenge the champion of your brand. That was the only fuck up that they made with King of the
Mm-hmm.
Ring. You should be able to challenge whoever the fuck you want. Okay? If Gunther wants to go to SmackDown and challenge Cody Rhodes, okay. He wants to stay on Raw and challenge Damian Priest, then, so be it. You should be able to choose. You should not have to face, one particular person because, again, if Cena's the WWE champion on SmackDown, CM Punk's a Raw guy. What, are you going to have CM Punk run through the whole tournament just to say, well, I want you, Cena, but I got to go for him? No, have him
Yeah.
choose.
No,
Again,
that's the whole point.
it should have been the Royal Rumble of the summer. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of Raw, according to Fightful Select, in speaking to staff within WWE, they almost all agreed that Brussels, Belgium, on March 17th was the best date on the European tour.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love to know in what regards was it the best date. Creatively, it was
Oh God,
absolutely
it was trash.
atrocious. But I'm interested to know if they mean the crowd atmosphere. I think what they should have asked. I think what I think what most of these people in WWE mean is Brussels, Belgium was the best carry job from the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
from the European tour because that show sucked. But in terms of a crowd atmosphere, I cannot wait to see them go back to Brussels, and I would actually love to see them do a pay-per-view there. And everything, man, all they needed was the creative, and that would have been a fucking chef's kiss. But we did get John Cena on that show, which was obviously tremendous, and that was the best part about the show. But man, I mean, the crowd was the star of that show. It was the crowd, John Cena, and Cody Rhodes. They absolutely rocked the house on that night, man. But the look of the look of the arena, the graffiti everywhere, mixed with the crowd atmosphere, I 100% agree. I don't agree creatively, but I agree atmosphere wise.
Most definitely, yeah. The creative on that episode was ass, dude. That was literally Kerry John Mania. We talked about it, man. It was a whole fucking thumbnail, but great one at that. But like you said, dude, the arena itself was a really cool arena. That backstage area was so sick, where it was just graffiti. And everyone signs the walls. It's so cool, and the crowd was insane. So I would assume they're talking about just a general like venue and whatnot, and I would say that was definitely the best one of that tour.
For sure. For sure. So did we already discuss this thing about the Street Profits? I don't think so,
No,
right? Okay. Okay.
no,
According to my boy, Uncle Dave,
oh God,
the expectation for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania 41 is a multi-team match with the Street Profits defending. As you can see, Uncle Dave he's pulling a Fightful. You remember last week when Fightful said the speculation
it could.
is the WrestleMania match is Braun, Penta, Finn, and Dominic. No
It's speculative.
fucking shit,
You know,
Sherlock.
I'm getting word, man, that the speculation backstage is, this whole, EO and Bianca and Rhea Ripley situation. That
Okay.
could be a triple threat Mania. It could be.
Really?
I'm hearing the word. Yeah.
Holy
Heard it from me
shit.
first, dude. Yeah.
It could happen, but it also couldn't.
Like, like it could also could not happen. Exactly.
Wow.
So when
Holy
it doesn't
shit, dude.
happen, I could say, well, I said it couldn't. It could happen.
So,
But like,
so you,
we got all these.
so you
Mhm.
mean to tell me Bianca and Io is gonna get Rhea added to it?
It could. It could. Not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed, but it could.
Get the
That's
fuck
what I'm
out of here,
hearing. It
dude.
could.
There's no
Like
way that's gonna happen, dude. Man,
they they did it again. These acts are interacting on television. You know, I'm hearing word that that could be an Io match. Is
where you
all the
hearing
acts.
word from your fucking TV provider? What? What?
You heard it from the fucking show description that week, dude. Because yeah, they're fucking interacting on television. Of course, that's the fucking plan.
What the fuck, man?
Which is the best part. These fucking journalists are posting these bullshit stories about the most obvious shit. When there's the actual questions of like, is the Solo and Fatu match happening? Is it going to
Yes,
be integrated in the U.S. Can you answer me that? That's the
please,
match I want to actually know the answer to, not the fucking obvious shit on television.
dude. So, dude, Nick Aldis did a segment a couple weeks ago on SmackDown where he had all 5 teams. It was DIY, Profits, Motor City Machine Gun, uh, Pretty Zesty, and what's the other? Los Garza. And he literally had all of them on a board. He had all of them on a board and connected them, like those like police, like LA Noir,
Yeah, like
dot boards or whatever.
yeah.
Is that? I mean, is that your source, Dave? I mean, really?
Good
what is
lord.
this reporting? And like you said, there's legitimate questions. Are we going to see Becky and Lyra? None. What are we going to do? Fatu and Solo, or is Jacob going to be integrated into the U.S. title scene? There's legit questions about the match card, and this is what we're putting out. The Street Profits might have a multi-man match. Again, who is your source? Comcast? I mean, is YouTube TV your source for this? I mean, really? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, all you have to do is
Uh,
watch the show, and I mean what is that, dude? What is that?
insane, dude. Insane.
Do not understand that at all, bro. At all. So, that is your news for the Street Profits and what they will be doing at WrestleMania. Speaking of WrestleMania, one of the big things that happens around WrestleMania is the Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
And the Hall of Fame has a new inductee, but it's not a person. It is a new category that WWE is calling the Immortal Moment, which WWE has posted this graphic for the Immortal Moment category of the Hall of Fame, and they are officially inducting matches, like I said, in the form of what they are calling the Immortal Moment. With the first Immortal Moment being the 2025 Hall of Fame, they are inducting the iconic match, the legendary match from WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret the Hitman Hart. Both men will be in attendance to accept the award. I don't know how you're feeling about this one, man, but dude, this is a pretty awesome idea to me. Just because of matches like this. I mean, you know, Bret versus Austin from WrestleMania 13 is an iconic match. That is literally such an iconic match, and the possibilities you have for inducting immortal moments into the Hall of Fame, I think, is just such a cool, dude. I mean, there's so much you can add to this, man. You know, growing up as a kid, the first 2 things that come to mind is the pipe bomb, and the match from Money in the Bank 2011. I mean, dude, there's so many Cody Rhodes finishing the story. Obviously, I'm sure these won't be inducted for a long time. I'm sure we're gonna see
Mhm.
older things, like again, like this match from WrestleMania 13 inducted first, man. But just from my childhood, this sparked so Jeff Hardy winning the world the WWE championship. I mean, just from my childhood, this immediately raised a lot of eyebrows for me. Just thinking of the possibilities of how many immortal moments you can add, and I think this is a really cool possibility. And this is just a really cool thing that they're doing. And you know, when they announced this, I said to myself, man, that really is such a no-brainer. I can't believe that something like this didn't get implemented, you know, sooner.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. You would think that would be implemented sooner. It's very WWE, caring about the moment and moments of matches that they really do. You think this would be sooner, and it's happening now, and I like it. I think it's really cool. I think you use it for a lot of things, especially you could use it for a lot of things that won't be mentioned in certain people's speeches or certain like groups inductees and certain people's inductees. You because these two guys are already inducted in the Hall of Fame. There would be no way to really talk about this match in the Hall of Fame again, but now you can because you're inducting the match itself. I think you could really use this in a lot of cool ways, and I like the idea, man. And Dave Meltzer, he got his 7-star matches, man, and now WWE has their WWE Hall of Fame matches and moments, and I like it. I think it can be used really good in the future.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the possibilities are endless, man. They are endless. The oh, never mind. You can't add that one. I was I was gonna say the Lesnar and Undertaker match where Taker lost the streak, but whoops. Can't do that
Yeah, I
one.
don't think that match is added.
Um, you can the WrestleMania 28, the Hell in a Cell match with Triple H, the 25 match with Shawn Michaels. I mean, how fucking iconic is that match? And again, it's not even an immortal match; it's an immortal moment. So again, this got my mind thinking to the pipe bomb and just all sorts of things like John Cena fucking slaughtering Roman Reigns that one that one Monday on Raw.
Wow.
Um,
You
um,
could do the Bryan Danielson win at Mania.
oh,
Probably can't do the
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania 20 win, but you do the other
You could do
WrestleMania win.
Eddie's, sure.
You can do it. Can't do the
Just
other
can't show
one,
the
but
end.
there's a lot you could add in there.
100%. Like I said, Cody finishing the story, or you know, Roman Reigns
You losing.
beating fuck, god damn it, Brock, never mind, can't add that one. Seth Rock, fuck, you can't add Seth. Well, we'll
Well,
blur Brock's face out for Seth Rollins cash in.
I was gonna say they could easily. I think they have cut around that like last year or
Yes, they
something
did it
when
at
they were
that
talking.
on the 2K showcase.
Yeah, they literally just cut Brock completely out of that. So which sucks because from like 2015 to like last year, Brock was in like every WrestleMania main event.
Yeah,
So that's like a
ugh,
fucking dark period now that
yeah.
you can't fucking bring up.
Oh, Kofi Mania. Kofi
Oh
Mania
yeah, you
is
do
easy. That's an
can't do
easy
his
add in.
loss.
No,
Can't do
I
his
don't.
whole loss.
I don't think
Oh,
that's an immortal moment. And I think that's an embarrassing. Yeah, if you add an embarrassing moment category, you could definitely add Kofi Kingston losing the title in 7 fucking seconds. But um, you could add
true.
Brawl Out. You could fucking add Brawl
Oh
Out
yeah,
to the immortal moment. Tip the
that's a moral
iceberg.
moment.
Cody Rhodes'
Exactly.
return. I mean, you guys get the point, man. I mean, CM Punk's return. There is so many immortal moments. Oh God, how could I forget? Hulk fucking Hogan slamming the 1,200 pound Andre the Giant
Oh,
and ripping and tearing and fracturing every ligament, bone, muscle, cartilage in his back to the point where
Yeah.
he couldn't walk for weeks, man.
Yeah,
God.
Hulk Hogan picked up and slammed a small sedan onto the
Yeah,
ground and tore all the muscles in his body.
he
And,
did.
for Hulk Hogan, that's what he did.
Yeah. Have him tell the story too. I think that would be just great. I think it would be
He
great.
says, dude, I love it because every time he says a different weight every time. No consistency. It was
Andre weighed
800
about
pounds,
900 pounds. What the what?
700, 900, 1,000 pounds, 600 pounds. It's never consistent.
I guarantee you, if Andre was still alive, God rest his soul, he would be looking at Hulk Hogan telling this story like, "What?
That's
Did not
possible.
weigh anywhere near 900 pounds. Like what?
It
What?
literally, that's not possible.
What was bro a minivan? I mean, what? What?
I
What did you
guess it
pick
was.
up? What did you pick up a Kia Soul? I mean,
Yep.
what is going on, bro? Anyways, um, I think it's great. I love the idea, and I'm happy that again matches and moments are getting the recognition that they truly deserve, man. So
Awesome.
we got some unfortunate injury news. Well, I mean, this is I guess comeback related news, so it's not the worst injury news. Um, according to PWN, we got some injury updates on Asuka, Tongaloa, Bronson Reed, and Ilya Dragunov. Bronson Reed is set to return from his injury around June. Thank you.
Yeah,
We already knew
thank
this.
God.
Asuka is set to return to the WWE roster sometime in May after Backlash. Tongaloa looks to be returning to SmackDown in June, which
I
I
thought we heard that it was like right after Mania he should come back.
yeah, I thought we heard they were looking to get him back even before Mania.
Or Mania, yeah.
The last one I
Okay.
really don't believe because I'm gonna read you guys something that again we heard in January. Ilya Dragunov is targeting a return to the Raw roster in September. September.
September. We just heard he was good essentially.
Okay, well,
Read it off.
look,
'Cause, let's tell the people.
in January, we heard from Fightful, Ilya Dragunov has been spotted at the PC training for an in-ring return. Dragunov was not at the PC for rehab. He was taking place in traditional training ahead of his return. Dragunov was not wearing any support gear for his injury. So
Either he completely ignored his injury and made it fucking 4 months worse, or they don't know what they're talking about and they're probably just lying. So we don't know the actual date.
which Dragunov was, when he got hurt, he was originally slated for 6 to 9 months, and he got hurt in September. So October, November, December, January, February, March. March being the soonest, April, May, June being the latest. So where the fuck do we get September from?
Like,
I don't believe that whatsoever. I am going to go ahead and say especially with him taking place, no support gear for training, and not even just rehab, full on in-ring training. I honestly think we see him sometime after WrestleMania. I don't believe that
I
not
think we do.
one bit.
No, I really don't. Same with like the Tongaloa one. I
Mm-hmm.
really don't believe those. I think they're just trying to move a date so, we get surprised when they return, but I don't think it'll be that far out for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, either WWE is feeding them this, and they are taking the bait like Meltzer did with Braun Strowman a couple years ago. Braun Strowman was going to be out 6 to 9 months, and he was back in 4 weeks. Um, or Drew McIntyre's skull fracture that he came back
Oh my
from
god.
within 2 weeks. So, you know,
Skull fracture, goated.
so again, some of these I believe, I believe the Asuka one, she did have a pretty lengthy injury time. Same thing with Tongaloa.
Hmm.
Not Tongaloa, Bronson Reed. Same thing with Bronson Reed. Tongaloa and Dragunov, I honestly think, even Asuka, I thought we heard was supposed to
She was
be,
good.
I thought she was one of the rumored names for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But okay. But yeah, Tongaloa and Dragunov, I don't believe Dragunov is in September. No, I'm not buying that.
No, not at all, dude. I'm really not buying that.
There's no way he was doing classic full on in ring training in January, and he's not projected to be back until fucking September.
There's no way.
So I don't know about that, but like I said, Tongaloa and Dragunov, I'm not buying, man. I guess I could see Asuka and Bronson Reed we've been known about, so yeah. Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross. This is our last bit of WWE news for the day.
Hmm.
Karrion Kross, according to Fightful Select, his contract is set to expire this summer. Although not confirmed, those spoken to within WWE have been ecstatic with Kross's ability to get himself over on social media and the angles he has been involved with on Monday Night Raw. It is worth noting, a lot of people did take notice that he changed his name on his social media accounts to his real name. So
Hmm.
very interesting. Do you think Kross is going to end up staying with the company, man, or do you see Karrion Kross possibly leaving WWE?
I think overall he'll stay. I think from what the vibe is, I think he likes it there, and I think he really found his place there. And I think the company realized they found his place there. So overall, I overall see him staying, man. I think he'll stay, and really don't see him. It's a possibility. It's always a possibility, but if I'm putting my money in a hat, I would think in the staying with WWE hat. But what about you, man?
Um, if you'd have asked me maybe like a year ago, I probably would have told you like, okay, maybe he would have thought about leaving, but in all honesty, dude, he has done so well for himself
Hmm.
since really the feud with the Wyatt Six. He really rose up over his whole entire faction and it just showed, it really just showed how much they were holding him back. Because
Hmm.
he did really, and he is one of the most under promoted guys or underutilized guys that you could possibly look for in WWE today, because he does really good work and gets really little
Hmm.
TV time, and like his attention to detail. Like I know a couple weeks ago, man, one fan pointed out on Twitter, like everybody that he has an interaction with, he like matches their hairstyle. And it's like shit like that
Hmm.
is just like the little attention to detail, or like his whole character since he's been in WWE, how he sort of like predicts things before anybody could possibly see them coming. It's just
Hmm.
it's such a cool aspect to his character, and it's a consistency to his character that I really like, and I really hope they keep him, and I really hope they use him. Um,
I hope so.
because he is, man, he's fucking awesome, man. He really is, and again, his attention to detail, it's almost Bray Wyatt esque, and I really
It
love
is.
it, man. So I hope that they capitalize on that sooner rather than later, because he is way too damn good to have sitting around, man.
Almost definitely.
And that is everything for the WWE portion of. Yes, that is everything for the WWE portion of the news. As with that, an official word from our good, great people over at W Energy, the official sponsor of NHP. W Energy is an energy drink loaded with vitamins and nootropics formulated to improve focus without getting the jitters. W Energy is a clean formula that is sugar-free, 0-calorie, free from fillers and artificial colorings, with 150 milligrams of caffeine per serving. You can get your W Energy products today with the link below and code NHP at checkout to save yourselves 10% on your next W purchase. As always, the official sponsor of the Notorious podcast, W Energy.
Really, always got to shout out W, man. Whether you need to stay up for a workout, or you got an AEW pay-per-view weekend. You guys know how late those things run. Maybe you got to stay up for that, man. It'll give you all the energy you need, be jitterless, and it'll taste good all at the same time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we have, you just mentioned staying up late for AEW pay-per-views. Well, I think otherwise come July.
Yeah.
Because WWE, I guess, has without
Scared them.
WWE without even running a major event has scared AEW, that is running their biggest event of the year out of their 7 p.m. Central time slot. And what do I mean by that, man? So, All In Texas was originally scheduled for Saturday, July 12th at 7 p.m. Central. It now has a new start time of 2 p.m. Central in Arlington, Texas. The Dallas Morning News broke the story, confirming that WWE's Saturday night's main event, airing at 7 p.m. Central on Peacock, forced AEW to pivot. The move by WWE is straight up bold, and their decision to go head to head with AEW's biggest show has extracted this to go head to head with AEW's biggest show at the exact same time sent a clear message, and AEW heard it loud and clear, and they have been forced to pivot and move their start time 5 hours earlier.
God dang. I guess we know how long the show is gonna go on for.
Yeah, about 4.5. Yeah, 4. Yeah, but fuck, man. Wow. AEW moved away because of Saturday night's main event.
Oh man.
Wow. Good Lord. I mean, this is the again, not saying All In ends up being bigger than WrestleMania, but this is this would be WWE moving WrestleMania 5 hours earlier to combat AEW Collision.
Literally, or Battle of the Belts or something. It's like this isn't an important show at all, and you still have to pivot. That's kind of crazy. I think most wrestling fans would rather watch the AEW pay-per-view, especially All In.
Yeah. See, because, maybe Tony got spooked with, they probably are going to load the show up. They're probably going to make that Saturday night's main event ridiculous. They're probably going to put an insane card. But dude, This is your big show. Don't you think your best shit should be up to par with their NBC special? And if it's not, then we have a fucking problem. And you should seriously look at the creative and say, well, why am I thinking about moving this? Why do I feel that maybe my shit's not up to par with whatever they're going to have? Because This is an NBC special. This isn't even a pay-per-view. This is an NBC special that WWE does, and you are moving away from that time slot because you're spooked?
Like, dog. It's a special episode of television, essentially. Just run your show. If you booked it just right with enough care and people cared, you wouldn't have a problem at all.
Man, that is crazy to me, man. I'm sorry, dude. That is man, that is pretty fucking crazy to me, dude. I mean, he's doing what he has to do to I guess position himself to get the most viewers as possible, but again, a lot of wrestling fans that are fans of both, like us, for as much as I'm sure they're gonna load that Saturday night's main event up, it's a Saturday night's main event. I mean, and what they've showed us up until this point is they're rushed and they are not really. And again, their show goes 2 hours, 2 hours max. AEW goes 4.5. I mean, you're scared of a 2-hour NBC special that again ends up feeling like a super rushed show anyways.
Exactly, that no one really cares about.
I mean, that's a weak move, man, and that shows some scary ass shit, bro. I can't lie to you, man. I mean, that is that is a scary ass move from AEW, bro. It really is. And again, if you are in the position where you feel like your shit is not up to par, you need to take a step back and say, why don't I feel confident enough to go head to head? Because I don't know, this is our WrestleMania going up against their version of Battle of the Belts. I mean, come on, dude.
Literally, they really have to look at themselves in the mirror for that one.
And they won't. It's the worst part.
No, they won't at all.
That's
Blame
the
it on
worst.
WWE.
Yep, that's what they will do, bro. They will literally just blame it on WWE. As again, the more they neglect it, the more nothing will change. If Tony Khan actually looked himself in the mirror and said, dude, our shit needs to be up to par with whatever they're doing, and actually, it probably will be. You're going to have Kenny and Okada on that show. You're looking at Swerve and Hangman. You're looking at Darby doing something, hopefully, with the World Heavyweight Championship. You're looking at a lot of interesting things on that show, and you still don't feel confident enough to go head-to-head with a 2-hour nothing show that feels rushed half the time? Scary ass move, bro.
That's scary as hell.
Well, Tony Khan has recently talked about the AEW Dynamite viewership. So, Tony Khan has spoken on AEW Dynamite's recent viewing figures after reports showing that AEW is clearing 1 million viewers per week after landing on Max. SE Scoops, my bad. SE Scoops has reported that around 500,000 viewers are watching the show on the streaming service within the broadcast, within 24 hours of broadcast, coupled with over 500,000 viewers tuning in on Dynamite live on traditional television. While speaking on the AEW Dynasty media call, AEW president, head of creative Tony Khan has suggested that the numbers are consistent with what he has personally heard. He says, I thought that was a really exciting report for AEW and consistent with everything we've been told. While the numbers are being kept close to the vest, we're one of the top sports streaming shows that report was consistent with what I've heard, said Khan.
What do you mean what you've heard? They don't tell you your numbers? You run the company and you, okay.
They say Dynamite is gaining between TBS and Max is gaining around 1 million viewers a week. But then in the report, they go on to say that on Max, 500,000 viewers are watching the show within 24 hours of broadcast.
Well, they're not watching it live. It's like
I
fucking.
didn't know the show every Wednesday was 24 hours long. Dude. So you're counting people probably double watching the show twice, or maybe they want to go back and watch something they missed, or maybe they want to go back and watch a segment that they missed. You're probably counting a lot of those people twice, yet running around touting 1 million viewers a week. The proof is in the pudding here. That makes no sense. You are stat padding.
They are.
You are stat padding and fucking using double viewers to cite that you are gaining 1 million viewers on Dynamite per week. Dude, you were exposed when Dynamite was only on TBS. No question, they are getting no more viewers live a week than on their best week, probably a 7.
Mm-hmm. They almost never crack 8 at this point, and they're counting double viewers or counting viewers that just watch it, the next morning or a little bit after the show was on air or whatever, within the 24-hour time slot. Okay, I watched it Thursday night instead, but I guess that still counts as watching it live. Good lord.
LOL. That is again, the proof is the proof is in the pudding, man. I mean that there is the biggest logic gap. Again, you can't cite 1 million viewers but then say we're getting 500,000 on Max within 24 hours of the show.
No, it doesn't work like that.
What? So, there she is. Hey, Belle. Hey, no worries.
How you doing,
No
Bill?
worries. We understand. Yeah, the WrestleMania collision, I understand why they would move. Nobody would care. That would get, but dude, them putting All In up against Saturday night's main event, you should be more confident to go head to head with that. I'm sorry, man.
You really should.
That is quite literally your WrestleMania. So, but that's the state that they're in, and Tony Khan knows it. He just doesn't want to admit it. So, during the AEW Dynasty media scrum, Tony Khan shed some light on the fan outrage of hardcore elements. And he stated that AEW will continue to incorporate more violent and or hardcore elements into their program, as he is aware some of his fans love it. How do you feel? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? And how do you feel about AEW or Tony Khan doubling down and not, feeding into the negative reaction, but feeding into the fans that do love it?
I think it's good. I think it's good that he's standing 10 toes down on this, and I think it continues to make them what they're supposed to be the alternative. Stuff like that is what makes them the alternative. So I'm glad that they're continuing to do what they do with those type of matches, man. So I like it a lot. I'm glad that they're doing it, and I'm glad that they're sticking with that, man. But what about you?
I'm in total agreement here. I cannot stand the argument of violent or hardcore elements don't have a place in the business. It's disgusting. You can't do this in 2025. Look away. Okay, I'm sorry. When you were, when you were a kid, and I know we all done it, when you're watching a horror movie, if something's too gory or too scary, what did you do? You fucking grabbed the blanket and you put it over your fucking eyeballs because you were scared, okay? I did that all the time watching Michael Myers when I was a kid. Obviously, as I got older, I just, it's like nothing now. But like when I was a kid, It was scary to me. So what did I do? I grabbed the blanket and I put it over my fucking eyeballs. If you don't like it, look away. Again, violent and hardcore stuff has a place in the business. It's a different genre. Okay, not everything, has to be, and not everybody has to do it. My problem with AEW doing the violent or hardcore elements is when they do them. You know what I mean? I don't want to see the shit on a Dynamite. I don't want to see somebody bleeding buckets on some random episode of Dynamite in the middle of fucking February. You know what I mean? I want to see it done in important moments. I want to see this stuff done for, blow off feuds and whatnot. That is my problem with AEW doing it. But again, to say that it has no place in the business and all this other bullshit, I mean, I'm sorry. If you can't stomach it, look away. It's a genre and it's another element to a brand of pro wrestling. Get over yourself. Again,
Exactly.
I like to compare it to, just different brands of basketball, right? Some teams are defensive centric. Some teams are offensive. Some teams are, some teams play a lot of big men. Some teams jump shoot. It's a different genre. It's a different brand of basketball. It's a different brand of professional wrestling, and it all has a place in the business. Again, a lot of people, I can attest this to, like, whenever we see Zack Sabre Jr., people say, oh, he's boring. This has no place in the business. Shut the fuck up. He's a technical wrestler. Yes, he does. I mean, just because you think it's boring and just because he is, doing hold centric or chain wrestling centric, is it boring to you? Sure, that's fine. It can be boring to you, but to say it has no place in the business, I think is just that is just ridiculous to say, in my honest opinion, man. But I say it all the time, and I will 100% stand 10 toes down on that again. But what I will say is AEW needs to choose when to do them. Jon Moxley getting impaled in Albuquerque, fucking wherever they were, or Boise, Idaho, or wherever they were.
Wherever it was.
That shit I don't agree with. If you want to do that at a pay-per-view, you want to do that at Double or Nothing or All In or All Out, go ahead. Have a blast, okay? But again, it needs to be important and it needs to be meaningful. You can't just be doing these things on Dynamite. So I hope they get that aspect nailed down of it. But again, I will always stand by it's a genre. It's a fucking genre, bro. And again, you don't like it because it makes your tummy uneasy. Oh well. I mean, I too bad, so sad, I guess. Look away. That's how I feel about it, bro. But
Most definitely.
oh yeah, that is that. But Bell says Darby versus Moxley is probably going to be a bloodbath. Hey, if they want to do it for Darby and Moxley, and that's going to be the blow off of the reign, go ahead.
Yeah. Exactly.
Again, as long as you are doing these deathmatch spots that make sense to do, and they're being done as safely as possible. I mean, it's hard to really do that safely, but as long as nobody's busting open veins or arteries, then okay. But again, if it is what it is, and they want to do a hardcore spot, then it's pretty fucking awesome. I can't lie, bro. As long as the people are okay with doing it and want to do it, and it makes sense, and it calls for a blow off or a story, then go ahead, bro. Then go ahead. But speaking of Darby Allin, according to Uncle Dave, Darby Allin starts his climb to Mount Everest on April 15th. So he's going on tax day, and he's going in about 11 days, man. Mount Everest takes about 6 to 9 weeks to climb. So yeah, he's he is going to be gone for about 2 months. So assuming he comes back in June, he will be back right in time for All In. And the only question is Is John Moxley still going to be the world heavyweight champion?
I probably overall think so, man. But man, 2 months. I did not know it took that long. I thought it was gonna take like 2 weeks. That is,
Yeah.
oh
Well,
man, oh god.
lowest case scenario, he takes about a month and 2 weeks, about a month and a half.
Yeah.
Longest case, he takes about 2 months and a week. So
Holy shit. Well, hopefully, wish him the best. Hope he succeeds, plants his flag, whatever, and he can make his way back and hopefully end this nightmare that is on television right now.
yeah, and I think I think he's the one they're counting on to do it. So we're gonna be in for a long next couple of months, in my honest opinion. However, the one thing that's confusing about All In, and what's confusing about, honestly, the one thing that might be the only glimmer of hope is the Owen. The winner of the Owen
Hmm.
gets the world title shot, and Darby's not in it. So, are they pivoting? They very well
I
could
think
be at
so.
this point, man. Because,
If
what were
hmm
you going to say?
if they are pivoting, maybe maybe Swerve does win this, and maybe Kingman wins the Owen. Maybe they could do something like that.
That could be a frame of thinking, man, because AEW has officially put out, as you can see here, AEW has officially put out the Owen brackets. And again, this could be a glimmer of hope for this Nightmare of a Death Rider storyline, because not only did they tease Hangman and Swerve on Wednesday with a very interesting segment, I actually really like what they did there,
Very.
but
Hmm.
again, the winner of the Owen gets the world champion at WrestleMania, and Darby is not in here.
WrestleMania.
So the only other plausible winner for this could be Adam Page. Again, unless they go with Will Ospreay. I think an Ospreay and Hangman final would be nuts. I think that's probably the way to go for Double or Nothing. But um as for the wild card, I maybe Josh
I don't know who.
Alexander, um maybe, but I honestly think the only plausible winner you could go with here is Adam Page, obviously with a runner up being Will Ospreay. As for the women one, um probably, honestly, bro, probably Mercedes on the right end of the bracket, or from the left end of the bracket, I could see Jamie Hayter maybe. But either way, obviously they're not
Hmm.
as star-studded as I wanted them to be. You have fucking Brody King in
Tiffany.
here. You have Kevin Knight, who's been with the company for like 8 days. You have Mark Briscoe in here, and then for the women, you have Billy Starks, Thunder Rosa. I mean, it's typical. It's AEW trying
Yeah.
to please everybody. I mean, and you're you're trying to please everybody and not necessarily star-studding up the brackets, which I think they should. But then again, I can handle a tournament, and I understand a lot of fans can't, so I can't necessarily fault Tony Khan for that, because a lot of fans are 9 times out of 10 probably just going to fucking complain when, Brody King gets out in
Big
the
name
first
wins.
round, or Mark Briscoe out in the first round, Julia Hart's gone in the first round. I mean, it's a tournament, brother. So, but
Hmm.
again, you can't necessarily tell these fans anything. But what do you think about these tournament brackets, man? And who do you have for winners, bro?
I think they're fine, man. I think they're fine. Overall, with winners, I don't know who the wild card is, and I think no matter who it is, they have to lose to Hangman, if I'm being honest. So that's kind of a dumb wild card, spot right there.
For sure.
But overall, I would say for the men, I would think Hangman. That's the big name I could think of, and then for the women, it's probably gonna be Mercedes. I wouldn't doubt it being Mercedes. But maybe they are pivoting, man. Maybe they are pivoting.
Everybody has wanted that Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm match, dude. So I would really love to see Jamie Hayter actually win that,
I would
because
love that.
but the thing is, Mercedes Hogan over here.
Mhm.
She
All the
has,
belts.
yes, she has all the belts and she's also undefeated. So are you going to beat her for the first time in this tournament? Maybe against Athena or something? But I mean, I really don't know, man. I really don't know. But uh, I would really love to see Jamie Hayter come out of this bracket, because I would assume Jamie Hayter would get the match at All In, because the match at All In, I would think, is Mercedes versus Athena. So, you know, I don't really know,
Maybe? I
you
would
know,
hope so.
yeah, but
I
then
hope so.
going back to what you mentioned with this wild card here, why is the wild card going up against Adam Page? Why wouldn't you put the wild card against fucking Mark Briscoe? I mean, what?
Yeah,
What?
it makes no sense, dude. Let's have a wild card go against our biggest guy. That's probably gonna beat him. Great look for whoever that may be.
Beats me, bro. Beats me. So, Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight is in the tournament. Why is Kevin Knight in the tournament, you may ask? Well, according to Fightful Select, Switchblade Jay White has suffered an injury that has forced him out of the Owen Foundation tournament. The injury is legitimate. He is expected to undergo surgery. Apparently, it's on his hand, according to Uncle Dave. He has a hand injury, and this is what led to Kevin Knight being the one to take his spot in the tournament, because the original plan for Dynasty was to do Will Ospreay versus Jay White.
Mm,
I don't know why you wouldn't save that for the second round, because we're probably just going to get a semi of Ospreay and Takeshita. And we've seen that,
mhm.
Matt. We've been seeing him feud with the Don Callis family. So I don't know why they wouldn't want to keep those guys separate to where we don't have to see that match again. Um, because we've literally just been seeing that. He's been feuding with the Callis family basically since he's gotten into AEW. But um,
Literally.
but I think the Jay White match would have been better as a semifinal, but obviously this is obviously out of Jay White's control, and it sucks that this has had to happen. I don't know why they chose a guy, like I said, who's fresh with the company to be in a tournament for the world championship match at All In, but um to each their own, I guess. Tony Khan is going to do what he
Yeah.
wants to do, and Kevin Knight is the replacement for Jay White, and I do wish Jay White a very, very speedy recovery, man, and it sucks that he does have to miss this tournament.
Most definitely. That really sucks that he has to miss the tournament, miss Dynasty, all that, man. So hopefully it's a quick and very simple injury to come back from, man. But as for the Owen, man, it looks interesting. I'll give him that. Hopefully changes is happening and they're pivoting. I hope so, man, but I doubt it.
Are you seeing this Ray Phoenix opponent revealed? Who is it? Andrade?
Yes, no, it's Nathan Frazier for some reason.
What the fuck? What? I mean, what?
It'll be a good match,
Oh,
but
yeah,
like.
that's gonna be awesome, but huh?
I don't know. This is a Tony Khan booking his debut, man. Let's just have him just a random ass and nothing match. All right.
It's not even on. Okay. Um. Well, I guess they gave Axiom his trial run. Now it's time for Nathan Frazier to have his. So Jay White is injured. Another injury within AEW, man. Mark Davis. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, Mark Davis has sustained an injury last week in his match against Powerhouse Hobbs, and it seems to be a 4 to 8 week timetable on his return. So, not egregiously long, but he's still going to be out for a decent chunk of time, man. So, the Osprey Killer is on the shelf for 4 to 8 weeks, man. So, I wish him a speedy recovery as well. And hopefully, while he's out, Tony Khan can find some better creative for him while he's at it.
Most definitely. Hopefully, creative can be found for that man in the time of his absence. But I doubt it. I just wish him, speedy recovery, man.
Definitely. Well, Bell, I will say the good thing about Nathan Frazier being on SmackDown, like I said, is they did give Axiom that trial run against Gunther, and I honestly think
Hmm.
that was basically just their appetizer for being called up because they got to get called up. They are going to be such a good addition to that tag team division. I
Oh
can't even
yeah.
say it enough, man. I mean, they are going to they're just going to be so there are from the little bit I've seen from them, they're a very exciting tag team, and I think they're just going to be awesome on the main roster. So it's time for Nathan Frazier to get his little appetizer run like Axiom got, man. So yeah.
Most definitely, man.
And with the last bit of news before we jump on to the I was gonna say the All Out. What the fuck was I gonna say? All Out.
Oh,
The Dynasty predictions is more injury news, as according to Fightful, Orange Cassidy has been sidelined with an injury. The early indication from those within AEW is it is possibly a torn pectoral muscle,
man.
which, let's see.
What the fuck? When was his last match?
I thought he
Was
was
it
on
that
at
one
the
Dynamite main event?
I know he just yes, it could have been against Hechicero for some reason.
What a way to get injured, man.
Let's see.
Hmm.
So a torn pec. So a torn pec at the worst, or sorry, at best is 3 to 6 weeks. At worst is 4 to 6 months. So I'm sure it all depends on if he has to have surgery, how severe, what the severity of the injury is, man. But this sucks for him because he literally just came back from a hiatus after Full Gear, so it sucks to see him go right back on the shelf. This time for
Hmm.
an injury, but I like the others who, man, I wish him a very speedy recovery and hope he can get back to doing his thing in no time, man. But this definitely sucks for sure.
Definitely, man. It really does suck, and hopefully it's a fast one and a speedy one, and hopefully he's back soon.
No question about that. No question about that, man. As yeah, that is all of the news here today. As now we got some
Dynasty.
dynasty predictions to go over here with you
Let's go.
guys. Thank you guys for sticking with us through the news, man. As good God, here we go.
Yeah.
The
All
first
8 matches.
10 10 matches on the show.
Yeah.
I don't think
Which I
any of these
probably
are.
don't.
I don't think any
Yep.
of these are on the 0 hour either. I think these are all main card matches. All
Oh,
right.
fucking
Chris Jericho defends the ROH World Championship against Bandito in a title versus mask match. Um,
um,
uh,
man, I mean, it's for the ROH title again. Why do you have Bandito in this circle of hell with Chris Jericho, man, and ROH? I really like Bandito. He could do a lot better than this, and oh man, I think overall the most likely is Bandito wins. He gets the ROH title. Yay. There is a possibility that he does lose and he overall goes away from the mask. That could be a possibility. But overall, I think it's a pretty safe to say Bandito win.
yeah, unless they want to do a crazy character switch up with him and take the mask off and just give him, I don't know, his own character or whatever. Um, eh, Unless they do some shit like that, I think Jericho has held this thing for long enough. And why is he still walking around with Mark Briscoe's version of the world championship? I mean, can somebody please answer that for me? I mean, what is the deal?
Mm.
Um,
Uh, I don't think there even is an answer.
Yeah, I don't think so either, bro. But yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and say Bandito. Hey,
Hey, I think
Durante, what up, bro?
how you doing, man? I'm good, man, and my family's good. What about you, man?
Yeah, how are you doing, brother? I am good. Family is good. They're the family, so always something going on. Never a dull moment, but they are good. They are good, man. How about
Mhm.
you, man? How is your family doing, and how are you, brother? Thank you for joining us, dude. Um, in the next match, Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. In the Owen tournament. Uh,
Mm, I
I,
wonder who's gonna win this one.
yeah, I mean, Mark Briscoe is strategically put in every single tournament to be the tournament
The
loser.
lose. Him and Brody are the two tournament losers that they put in because literally every time. So it's gonna be an obvious,
Yeah,
obvious Kyle Fletcher win.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if I would say Brody is the tournament loser. I think he's just the loser.
He's just a loser in general, but they do always put him in tournaments too
Yeah,
to be the loser of the tournament.
yeah,
You
yeah.
always gotta have two in, it's always Mark Briscoe
Hard,
and Brody King.
yeah, yes, it
Always
is.
those two.
Yes. Yeah, Brody has definitely upgraded to just loser now. But
Oh,
for the international championship, Ricochet versus Kenny Omega versus Cornball Mike Bailey. Like I said, for the international championship, I mean, this is ridiculously easy to predict. I mean, who's gonna go on to face Okada at All In? Ricochet or Mike Bailey or Kenny Omega? I mean, come on now.
literally, man. Pretty obvious can he win. I'm excited. I'm very intrigued to see this match. Very intrigued to see more of Cornball Mike Bailey. So far I liked him more than I thought I would. So I am very interested to see this match. And I've been liking what Ricochet's been doing. So overall, um, I'm excited for this match. But it's a very obvious Kenny Omega win.
For sure. For sure. The open to the Owen for or an opening match for the Owen and for the women, Mercedes versus Julia Hart. Mercedes Hogan versus Julia Hart.
Under
Yeah, who's
Malachi
gonna
Black
yeah.
leaves the faction, and they're nothing but losers, man. So it's another loser, and Julia Hart now is gonna lose to Mercedes.
Yeah, I think she's taking
Thought
off.
they were better off without him.
Yeah, yeah, that man, that's what a lot of that's what a lot of them said. They're better off without Malachi. And the,
Dude,
and yeah, now everyone's a loser. Okay. Um,
gotta love it, dude.
yeah, this one is going to Mercedes Hogan for sure.
Oh, guaranteed.
Um, the Hurt Syndicate versus the Learning Tree. Big Bill and Brian Keith.
Is this the most predictable AEW pay-per-view of the year, man? God damn.
Honestly, now
Um,
that you say that, dude,
yeah,
probably.
I didn't realize it until we're like reading off the matches one by one, but like,
I
holy
wonder who's
shit.
gonna win this match. Yeah.
Just wonder fucking the not real competition versus fucking the one of the best acts in the company right now. I wonder who's gonna win. Obvious Hurt Syndicate win, man.
Yeah, I mean, especially knowing what we know about like um the murder hawks or
Are supposed to still get their
yeah,
shot
they
because
were yes,
yeah.
Brian Keith and Big Bill are literally a fill-in. So yes, this is going to the Hurt Syndicate, obviously. I could see MJF helping the Hurt Syndicate to win. Even though they don't need it, I could see MJF meaninglessly help them just to try to get on their good
Get in there
side.
good. Yep, and like I said back on Monday, I think MVP is gonna be a fan of it, but I don't think
Yes.
Shelton. I was gonna say Shelton and Benjamin. I don't think Shelton and Bobby are going to be a fan of it themselves. I think they're going to be annoyed at MJF helping them.
Yeah. It's fine. Earlier when we were going down the Mania card, I almost said Punk versus Roman versus Reigns. So
You said one earlier that I tried to let you know you said, but you said the Owen Hart winner gets their shot at Mania, and I tried to put that in
did I
there, but
say
you
that?
kept going.
I didn't even catch
You did
that.
say that earlier,
You
and
know
you just
what?
kept going.
I I definitely let that one slip because there's been a couple times where I've almost said gets their shot at Mania when I've been talking about All In. So what the fuck?
You just let that just kept going. I was like, well, okay.
Um golly. um for the AEW World Trios Championships, we have the Death Riders versus Rated R FTR. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. I think the outcome of this match is going to dictate the outcome of the main event for sure.
I can and can't, because I could also see them just wanting to take this off of the Death Riders just to, give somebody else against the Death Riders the bone, and it is Cope in them, so I could just see, them winning just because, to be honest. I could see it like correlating with the main event, but I also could not see it correlate with the main event, if I'm being honest. To be honest, I really wouldn't doubt it if since, Cope didn't get his world title win, they get this.
I could see that. The way they're going with the whole like FTR story, though, I feel if
Might lose.
yeah, I feel like Cope is going to, I feel like if rated FTR, if rated FTR wins this, if Rated FTR wins this, I can very well see Swerve winning this main event, but I could also see them not winning this if the Death Riders want to continue their like chokehold on the company storyline. But
Mhm.
it's not a fucking storyline anymore. It's about as real as it gets for this fucking company in this storyline. But I could very well, like I said, I could see them going the route of FTR turning on Copeland and that dictating the Death Riders remaining their chokehold on the company because I just don't see them dropping all the I don't see the trios titles being dropped but then they continue the world title because I feel the vibe they're going for, the vibe that Moxley and Tony want to create is a chokehold on the company type thing. And they don't care about
Mhm.
the trios belts anyway, so I could see
They
them
don't.
just wanting to keep them on the Death Riders as just a better aesthetic for, them carrying all the gold and fucking being shit,
Even though
but
they even though they don't actually carry the
they
goal.
do not actually carry the gold, no.
It's like good old Tony. Oh man.
Yeah, but personally, man, I really see this dictating the way the main event goes, man, and how this Death
Mhm.
Riders chokehold goes. Uh but with that, I I'm actually gonna go ahead and say rated FTR win this match. I'm gonna go ahead and
Mhm.
say rated FTR win this match. I think
Think they
see
might be pivoting?
uh, honestly, dude, after we looked at that Owen bracket, they fucking might, dude. They might.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. And people love Swerve. There's been a lot, dude. From Revolution to now, it's been nothing but please let Swerve win
Mhm.
on social media for AEW. So I wouldn't be shocked, and I would be perfect. These are the people you pivot for, not fucking Cope like people wanted at Revolution.
Mhm. Gotta
Fucking
put the
Hangman
title
and
on Cope.
Swerve. You put that on Cope. These are people I'd fucking swerve. I'd swerve for. Ironically, these are the people I would swerve the story for. Swerve and Hangman, dude. God damn, I can't talk today.
Yeah, and honestly, man, I do have it in the back of my mind because Tony is just so stubborn that he's going to continue this storyline with the Death Riders, dude. But at the same time, after looking at those Owen brackets, I realize, man, Darby, obviously Darby's not in there, and that guarantees your title shot at All In. So it almost
Because
can't be Darby at this point. Which usually they do Wrestle Dream in Washington. You could do it then. Honestly, you should have just did it last year, being the way the whole Death Rider storyline ended up turning out. Like shit. You should have just had Darby win the title and then drop it to Swerve at like Revolution, and then Swerve can carry it
yeah,
against Hangman in the main event of that show. I think that would be good. But yeah, dude, like I said, after looking at those Owen brackets, I don't know why it took me just now to fucking realize, the winner of that gets Mox and Darby's not in there. So, unless
yes, they are
unless John
competing.
Moxley fucking goes past All In.
Oh, don't speak that into the world, dude. Oh my God, the full
Oh,
gear.
oh
Oh,
God. Yeah, he's gonna beat him at
yeah.
Wrestle Dream in October this year. Um
Oh my. Oh, dude, I would, dude. Don't
unless he
put that
yeah,
into the
he's
kid.
gonna win Royal Rampage again and fucking go on to face him somewhere. But honestly, dude, I could see, I could see
So scared.
I could see Swerve and Hangman
Mm-hmm.
at All In. Hangman wins the belt. And I could see Hangman and Osprey having history from, you could have both of them be the finals of this Owen. And I could see Forbidden Door in London. I could see Osprey taking it from Hangman there.
I could. I would be cool with that. I'm down with that general direction, most definitely.
Yeah, I could very well see that being the case. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and say rated FTR, man. I know a lot of people think the turn is gonna happen, and I could very well see the turn happening, but I feel like they will want to save FTR versus Christian and Cope for All In. So we still got a while to go.
Yeah.
So I think you could probably have like I could see the turn brewing, but once they
Yeah.
lose the trios titles, it finally gets Cash to be on the same page with Dax.
Exactly. Exactly. I could see them losing the titles, those trios titles at like Forbidden Door or some shit before All In. And then, building up to that. So, because you still have to like get Christian out of the patriarchy
Yes,
and do all that. So you still have a lot of work to do. So definitely, I think they're gonna build that up slowly.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, for a little bit of an intermission, Durante,
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the question, brother. He says,
Most definitely.
what do you guys thought of Naomi's heel run? He says she thinks she's been fucking killing it because she has been a menace on Twitter and it's fucking hilarious.
I like it, dude. I think she's definitely better right now as a heel than just, generic smiley happy baby face. I definitely like it a lot. I mean, she's kind of carrying the feud with Jade here, and I'm sure she's gonna be carrying the match. Certain people might like want to hear that, but it's
Yeah.
kind of a carry job. But overall, I think Naomi's really good in this role, man, and I am okay with her being the heel out of all of this scenario. Obviously, I really want her to be Bianca, but with what Bianca's doing now and what Naomi's doing now, I think they made the good choice. And I really like what Naomi's doing as a heel.
100%, bro. 100%. So, yeah, I mean, it is called Carry Job Mania for a reason, especially if they put Naomi versus Jade on there. I've been loving the heel run as well so far, as well, because we talk about guys like Owens and McIntyre, how they have like justified heel turns, and they're right. Naomi's in the same boat. You could throw her in the same boat as that. She has had a justified heel turn because she had to sit on the sidelines for somebody who's not as good and has not put in half the work she has. So it makes sense. And it makes sense for her to turn heel. And her Twitter stuff is hilarious. What I seen one today, where Jade posted a picture of like her and Bianca with the tag titles and said something like won my first championship won a championship in my first year. Naomi quote tweets it and says, "No, Bianca won you those championships."
Oh,
And how she was talking about how like
man,
Bianca had carried her through the rain or something. Hilarious shit.
devious, truly.
Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight in the open to the Owen first round for the men. Again,
Osprey.
what?
I know
No.
you're a nice guy. You care about the company. I like that. You're a guy who's willing to lose. That's really good.
Yeah.
But do not allow yourself to lose to Kevin Knight or whatever his name is. No, you have to win this, Will. Please, for the love of God. Because
Yeah.
Will would be okay. I know he would.
Yeah, you know Will, he's not a selfish guy at all, but I think we're going for a Hangman Osprey final.
I think we are.
That's a big ass match for Double or Nothing, and I think that's ultimately I think that is ultimately, you know, where you should be looking for the final to that tournament. As for Kevin Knight in the ring, he looks good.
It's gonna be good.
who who doesn't look good in the ring, man? His promo ability seems to be okay. I really hope it works out, man, but you know, for now, I'm gonna take it as all the other ones. He's just another guy that Tony Khan signed because he had a good match, and I really hope he could stand the test of time. But again, how many guys have we seen walk through, you know, Tony Khan's vortex and just get lost in the shuffle because, uh, you know, he doesn't know what to do with them, or they're not really as good as Tony Khan thought just by seeing one match of theirs. So I hope it works
Exactly.
out, but again, it's being handled the wrong way, similar to a lot of scenarios in AEW. But yeah, this is an obvious Osprey win for me.
Most definitely, it has to be an Osprey win. It better be an Osprey win. And like you said, probably gonna get Osprey, Hangman, Double or Nothing. Very exciting, man. And like you said, if Will Osprey is eventually the one to take the title from Hangman post All In, you got your whole story right there. He beat him in the Owens. He got the title shot against him, and he wants it back. You're setting up a good story right there.
For sure. All right, man. For the TNT Championship, fighting
The
champion,
details.
the feeling restorer himself, Daniel Garcia, defends the TNT Championship, no time limit, no outside interference against Adam Cole.
Man,
Danny,
no
I'm sorry, man. You played yourself, bro. You
He got played, bruh. Uh,
man.
uh, fuck. Listen,
All
Garcia.
right,
You had the best intentions. You
you
thought
did.
Tony Khan was gonna use you,
Yeah.
but how did you not see past that, dude? I'm sorry.
Damn.
We said this is exactly what's gonna happen. They put the title on you to resign, and has done fuck all with you since, dude. Sense, man. You could have been running shit in NXT. Dead ass Daniel Garcia probably would have been the leader of this new faction in NXT if he was there right now. He probably would have been like in that
I
circle
hope
of
not.
guys. Well, a lot of people think it's Shrek, or a lot of people. There's like a mystery leader. I believe people think or something.
Yeah, I've
Um,
seen. Yeah, I have seen that. The group to
so
me, they
I don't mind it. I think they're
it's
funny.
it's too they are it is funny. Some of the shit it is funny, man. But dude, to me the whole like idea of WWE's aiming to make them the next Shield. Get out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here with that. I mean, dude, you are
Oh, that's a lost effort.
you are starting off on the complete wrong foot with that group, man. You're never gonna get another Shield. Do not try a fake. Look at Retribution. How that was a fucking fail off rip because it was we're gonna make this the new Nexus. No, you're not. Shut up. Get out
No,
of
you're
here.
not.
I'm not.
And then they made it all weird because, like, the original Retribution look was doable. They wore like fucking balaclavas and shiesties essentially, and were
Yeah.
beating people up. And then they switched it to like
This
just
dominatrix, fucking
yeah,
evil,
like
like
fucking dominatrix thing, and really just did weird shit with it,
yeah.
man. At least with this Dark State, whatever their name is, they got a cool look. But Garcia, man, You could have been in NXT right now, killing it. Look at Ricky. He's getting Tony
He's
Khan a
literally,
chance.
dude, he's the NXT North American champion already. I mean, you can't tell me that wouldn't have been Garcia.
Bro, that literally would have been Garcia, bro. Like, come on. So no time limit. What was the other one?
No outside interference.
No outside interference. No care in the world. We get this title match, and maybe Adam Cole. I don't. I don't know because I don't care about this whole circle in AEW at this point.
Ooh.
Maybe I'm gonna just say if they're
Oh,
putting all these stipulations, maybe Adam Cole.
I'm gonna make your prediction a lot easier. Sunday is the wrestling anniversary for Adam Cole's career.
Oh yeah, well yeah,
Yep.
there you fucking go. Yep, Adam Cole. Bing, boom. There you go. Adam
Yes.
Cole.
100,000%. As soon as he made that post, I was like, oh, it's over. I was like,
Oh
Garcia is
yeah,
cooked. Garcia
he
is
should have
fucking
never
cooked.
mentioned this.
Yeah. For the women's championship, Toni Storm versus Megan Bayne. I don't think I don't think the Owen winner is going to end up facing Megan Bayne at All In. I think this is a Toni Storm win. If they want to continue to push Megan Bayne as this silent killer, this is very tricky because you are going to be tasked with trying to keep Megan Bayne safe whilst having Toni Storm win. So you got a tall task on Sunday, and I'm
Mhm.
interested to see how they do it. But I'm going Toni Storm. Toni Storm at All In against anybody is a money match, and Megan Bayne seems all
Yeah,
right, but she's obviously not a big money match at All In for anybody yet.
no, not at all, man. Maybe yet she can make herself that. If Tony allows her, or if she allows herself, man. So obviously it's gonna be a Tony Storm win, and hopefully, man, hopefully Jamie Hayter wins this tournament, man.
Hopefully, bro, because people have been wanting that match for so long, and they have history. They have history, man. Tony, when she was an outcast, a freelancer, she
Oh my
was
God,
she was a she
they were.
they injured they injured Jamie Hayter to take that very belt from her 2 years ago at Double
Hmm.
or Nothing. So
Exactly, man. So
makes sense.
she could, get her opportunity to get it all back, man. And I like that.
So for the main event, Jon Moxley versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. This is going to go one of two ways. This is going
Yep.
to be Tony Khan pivoting, listening to the backlash and pivoting because of the Death Rider storyline, or this is going to be Tony Khan being stubborn as ever, like he did with that Pointer Sisters intro, and going with the shit option, even though it's never gonna work. I really, really hope Swerve, and honestly, dude, after looking at that Owen bracket and realizing, obviously, that the Owen gets the winner of the Owen gets the world championship match at All In. I almost did it again. I'm gonna go ahead and say Swerve Strickland, but I'm going to give my prediction here 60-40 because I genuinely think there still is a 45%, 45-55, because I genuinely think there is a 45% chance that Jon Moxley does walk out of that, and I am not completely putting it past the realm of possibility. But the thing that's kind of deterring me away as of right now today is that Owen bracket, dude. Which means the Death Rider story is going to be coming to an end, hopefully, but I would not get your hopes up, people, at all.
Exactly. Don't. It's possible, but don't expect it. If you expect it, you will be disappointed to high
Yes.
hell, man. But overall, I think I'm gonna agree with you and give the advantage to Swerve. I think there's a good chance they might pivot. They got the Owen, all that. Which you said it as a joke, but the worst part, if they aren't pivoting, that probably means that the blow off is gonna be at Wrestle Dream because obviously the All In opponent was gonna be someone from that tournament.
If
So,
if,
you know,
if John Moxley does a fucking 12-month reign as the world champion,
gonna lose it.
whew,
Gonna lose it, dude. Unless that wild card is someone that could maybe still get Darby that shot, and
well,
I don't know how that could be possible, but you never know, man. It is
so
Tony Khan.
there is something you can do. If you have Swerve win, you can still pencil in, if he is good to go, you can still pencil in Bryan Danielson versus John Moxley at All In for Bryan
And
getting his win or getting his lick back. Assuming Bryan is good to go, which he has said he's going to be involved with All In some capacity. Either that or Bryan Danielson can come out and announce Darby in a match against John Moxley for, to happen at All In Texas, and Darby can get his lick back and then go on to build himself up for the World Heavyweight Championship, and continue his story and his build to the World Heavyweight title. But honestly, man, after looking at that Owen bracket, it almost has to be Swerve. Um,
I think it has to
be
be at this point, dude.
because the mere idea of John Moxley going past All In it is going to be a TV killer for the company, man. It really is.
It is.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say Swerve. But again, when I tell you I am giving a 51% chance to Swerve Strickland and a 49 to John Moxley. I mean, it is that close, because do not write off John Moxley retaining that championship, because I could very well see it. And I honestly think whoever wins that trio match is going to dictate what happens in that main event for me.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. So, I think we all have our hopeful hats on to where Swerve wins, man. But there's always the possibility that he doesn't. So expect the worst, hope for the best.
100%, man. So with all of that, those are your Dynasty predictions. We will be live for Dynasty right after the show goes off the air Sunday night. And with all of that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so very much for joining us here today on this edition of the news. Thank you to everybody who came out. Rainmaker, Bell, Durant, so very much for joining us here today for another edition of NHP. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 260, and we'll see you all next week on the news with the 5-year anniversary of the Notorious podcast. But before that, we will see you all on Sunday with the AEW Revolution. Good Lord, what the fuck, dude? What? We will see you all on Sunday. Now the Revolution already happened. We will see you all on Sunday after AEW Dynasty with the AEW Dynasty official NHP post-show review. Thank you guys so very much, and we will see you all on Sunday after Dynasty.
Peace.